That's my baby. I'm dying.
That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored. They did it.
Left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Bob Mannery here. You're listening to A2D Radio, real sports talk radio for the fans, by the fans, no agenda. These guys are the best in the business. Hashtag it. No notes.
What's up, fam? Welcome back. Thursday night, Birds of a Feather coming at you live exclusively on A2DRadio.com. I'm Chrome, joined as always by my esteemed co-host and panel here, Chucks, Peter Sirianni down here, already new name here, and obviously, as always, Big Dad Thomas A. and Mr. No Notes are known. Guys, lots to talk about, but first and foremost, let's take care of the house. Shout out to our sponsor, Specialized Physical Therapy. You can find them in Burlington, Cherry Hill, New Jersey. So you want to hit up the doc, you can find them at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary. So give it a shout out to Dr. Paul Vidal. Get all of your physical therapy needs taken care of. Also brought to you guys, this is a real important thing to us when we talk about mental health, when we talk about substance abuse and those kinds of things. It's a big issue. It's a big thing that we have going on. And we're here to support you guys. We want you guys to know many of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues, and we are happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. So if you need mental health therapy or addiction detox, or somebody that does, please encourage them to call the number 856-651-8117. Tell them the Big Dad down here, Tom, sent you. Our boy Lutman over there, one of our close family members who runs a hell of a ship over there, guys, does a lot of really great things in that space to help people out. So please take advantage of the opportunity and all the outlets that you have. Topic at hand, boys, brought to you by allcampusoc.com. You're going to use that promo code, the discount code, Keps Corner, for 15%. I think it's A2D now. It's been switched to A2D for 15% off. So little change there. But again, allcampusoc.com. You want to get your hats, get some gear over there. Let John know, your A2D family. Hit that A2D promo code, get your 15% off. Great ship he's running over there. And guys, the topic at hand, it's funny because, last night on After Dark, me and Tom had a knockdown drag fight. I don't even know where it came from with the head coach, but I think tensions are high, guys, in this city. People were getting impatient with the head coaching situation. Some of us more relaxed than others. Some of us way more wired than any of us. But we have our answers today. We find out today that the Philadelphia Eagles have officially made their head coaching hire. They hire Nick Sirianni, offensive coordinator from the Indianapolis Colts. And for a second, guys, I don't know why I almost said the Baltimore Colts. What the hell is wrong with me? But our topic of conversation is hiring Nick Sirianni wasn't a bad decision. Agree, disagree. And we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that hire. We're going to talk NFL playoffs. We have obviously Flyers and Bruins live reaction. I believe no score as of now into the first intermission. But all that on the tab, on the slab tonight. Taking you guys into the Hockey Happy Hour is going to bring you your Flyers and Bruins post-game show tonight. So make sure you guys stick around after Birds of a Feather so you guys can talk to those guys about everything Flyers hockey. But let's go, boys. Let's fire it up. I'm going to defer and go last. Because I feel like I have a different of opinion than everybody else. So I'm gonna we're just gonna go around clockwise, and since I'm in the top right corner, we're gonna work our way down. So go ahead, Big Dad. Let's hear your thoughts. Are you ready to fire it up or go?
I'm always ready to fire it up. The hiring of Nick Sirianni wasn't a bad decision. Agree or disagree? I mean, it's unfair. It's unfair to say one way or the other. Honestly, like that's the truth of it. Now, you're gonna put a gun to my head. Put a gun to my head, then I'm gonna disagree that it wasn't a bad decision because I'm gonna circle back to this organization being incompetent, and that's what I've witnessed over the last couple weeks. Okay, and it starts with you don't have 2 meetings to fire a head coach. You have one, and he's fired. That's how it works. It's not let me bring you back to make sure I want to fire you. So from the beginning, like we talked about last night, it doesn't seem like they really had a plan. Now, that doesn't mean this hire isn't great. That doesn't mean Nick doesn't win a ton of football games here. He's a younger coach, right? And there's a lot of positives in terms of fixing Carson Wentz. But I think anything they're going to do is a bad decision. Then people are going to tell me, well, Tom, they hired Andy Reid and they hired Doug Peterson, and that's fine, and that's great. But they all came from winning backgrounds. They were all around winners their entire careers, from players to coaches. What's Nick won? Okay, I watched the same offense that was crowned all year, okay, in a 2-minute drill, looked like it was a 5-minute drill. That's what I watched versus Buffalo. And I watched tons of posts from Colts fans talking about firing everybody on their offensive side of the football. I get they've averaged 28 points a game. I get all that. I think he's going to make an emphasis on running the football more. I understand all that side of it. It's one thing to be smart. It's another thing to lead men. Can he do that? Nobody knows. No matter how much people praise him or like him, we've seen this numerous times around National Football League where an offensive coordinator gets a job and he was a great coordinator but not a good head coach. Is that saying that's going to happen here? I don't know. But I'm more on the side of I don't trust them. I don't believe they're going to make the right decision. And I don't trust them in this decision. Simple as that. We thought they were waiting out for Bieniemy to interview him. We thought they were waiting out for somebody in an organization that's still playing right now. They weren't. They weren't waiting. They weren't waiting. And if somebody types Deuce in here, I'm going to delete the comment because I don't want to hear Billy's name at all tonight. And I love Deuce. So we'll talk about that later on. But right now, I disagree, guys. And it's not negative disagree. It's I've said this numerous times now. They have to pull me back in, Grayson. Okay? Right, Greg? Like they got to pull me back in, man. You're going to understand it one day, right? Where your loyalty is not ever wavered, right? Where your trust is. And that's in relationships and that's in sports, baby. And right now, I don't trust them. And it's not because they fired Doug and everybody thinks I love Doug. It's not about that. It's about that. I don't think they've had a direction this whole time. I think they got caught with their pants down. And there was a mutual parting of ways between Doug and them where they didn't see eye to eye. And that's why the second meeting happened. And here we are. So if somebody's got positivity, bring it to me. I would love to hear it.
All right. So I'll give you positivity. I mean, you're right. You can question whether or not he can lead men. That's the biggest question, but he can grow into that from his track record. I will say this for anybody's asking, well, what did he do? What did he do? This is a more well-rounded resume than what we did with the last time we did since in 2016 with Doug Peterson. That's hands down. Way more NFL experience. The one thing I want to give you, Tom, is every level that he's coached at, what his responsibility was, proved to be successful. Before he was in San Diego as a wide receivers coach. We all knew San Diego wide receivers can get open. Look at Keenan Allen. We've seen what he's done the last 2 years in Indy. Now, he wasn't a play caller, but he was involved in the game plan and looking at how to attack defenses. And we can say this year's a little bit different for but he was kind of inconsistent. But even go back looking at it last year, I mean, he didn't have the greatest quarterback play, but it always seemed like Indy, for whatever reason, was able at sometimes to move the ball and be effective. And compared to what we had this year, obviously our quarterback play was horrendous. I have more faith in him being successful than being non-successful coming into this job. And to go to the point where the direction and whether they wanted this guy, that guy, whether they're waiting for Bieniemy, I don't know what it is Bieniemy. I think Bieniemy is not a Mark Jackson of the NFL. I think he's being blackballed for whatever reason. We'll never know. But I think they were waiting to be wowed. I think they were definitely waiting to hear something, to see something, for somebody to present a plan that may be something that they haven't thought about before. And you know how Howie and Jeffrey are always outside of the box thinkers. So I think that's what they have with this hire, and it's a familiar but different hire because it's a familiar hire because you have familiarity with Frank Reich and you have familiarity some even with an attachment close line to Doug Peterson. But it is different because this guy is hell. I'll be 39 in 6 months. You know what I mean? So this dude is a little bit older than me. He doesn't. He looks older. I mean, he doesn't age well. I can tell you that. But that's what the NFL will do to you. He has gray hair out of his ass.
Whoa, easy on the Italians.
Hey man, you see the name? I'm from Sicily, man. I'm from that sun, that bottom. You know what I mean? So, but no, seriously though, I agree it wasn't a bad decision because of the fact of I know. And listen, everybody on A2D, I've been the one that's been saying pull me back in for years. I have not trusted this organization, especially Howard. But if you look at the track record of Jeffrey Lurie and his coaching search, he always seems to hire good coaches. It may not always last, but initially they always are good. And I know there's a tie somewhere to John Dorsey in this, so maybe this is somewhat of a changing of a guard. This is more of a Dorsey has his stamp on it, and if that can lead into the draft, hopefully, this can be because we're not looking here. I know a lot of us want to look
John
here.
Dorsey that hired Freddie Kitchens.
As a coordinator,
No, I'm just asking you guys.
Yeah, you're right. But listen, our son should still be playing in the NFC Championship game. It wasn't one of the dumbest rules in football with Rashard Higgins in that fumble out of the end zone. Yeah. So it's ridiculous. But you can kind of see these things maturing and really Sirianni has had that success. So you have that track record. Everything that he's been tasked to do, he's been not only able to adjust to it and on the fly and be adaptive because we've seen Indy have to throw the ball more. That's how he really started the season that Marlon Mack went down. And by the tail end of last year, I mean, Jonathan Taylor had the highest rush yards per carry next to Derrick Henry for the last 8 weeks of the season. So
but everybody here, though, real quick, to that point, everybody here gave all the credit to Frank for all their success. It was all Frank. That's all I heard and read on social media, right? So all I'm saying to them people is you can't now then have it both ways. Not you, but like you can't have it both ways and say, well, now it's a great hire because he was with Frank and Frank's the smartest guy in the room. Well, listen. Yeah. I thought you were going to be negative though. You're like a breath of fresh air. Look at you.
Well, no, with this hire, I'm going to be negative with other stuff as we move over because I mean I'm creating a new hashtag for certain sections of the Eagles fan base in this turn coach, really, because I can't believe what we're doing out here attacking people's character and defending people's character when they've done things to wrong us and they could have elevated themselves and chose to do otherwise. But I'll say that to say this. Anybody in the NFL, anybody in the fan that's saying that it's all Frank Reich, it's all this person, it's all that person, if you haven't seen, it's a collaborative effort. And the biggest reason why we're here is that Doug, you have to stop looking at it as we fired Doug. Doug didn't want this job. You have to start looking at it like that because Doug wouldn't put forth the effort to think outside the box, outside of his comfort zone. Whether or not you truly believe that you had the autonomy to do so, you still chose to write the names on that paper. At the end of the day, whatever that plan was that you had, you still chose to do that. Whether you felt as if it was tongue in cheek, if it was all for naught, you still chose to put that in front of your own. After 7 days, and you knew the second meeting was coming. It wasn't like Lurie said, "Hey, Doug, on Friday I want to meet again. Fly down to Palm Beach." He knew it was coming. So I'm not shocked by that. I don't think this was a bad decision because, like I stated, I thought they could have did a lot worse. There's a 4-letter word out there now that rhymes with loose. That could have been a worse hire in most opinion. It would have been more of an unproven hire because what outside of a leader of men, what can you really attach to Deuce that he's good at? With Sirianni, we know that he has a good offensive track record. I think it's almost a lock now that we go wide receiver at 6 because out of everything he's ever done, out of all the coaching positions he's had, he's been a wide receivers coach more than anything else, and he's also been a D-backs coach. So you're getting somebody in this young mindset, in this new wave, that's a sub 40-year-old first-time head coaches that is decent with quarterbacks, but I mean they could have did a lot worse, Tom.
No, I mean,
but I
guess, but this is also based on about 3 weeks ago. There's nobody out there that really moved the needle for us.
Exactly. So why fire your coach then? And that's the case. Remember, we talked about that. Like, if you fire Peterson, who are you replacing him with? That's going to be more attractive than him.
I just don't want Chip Kelly again. And not saying he's Chip, but like Jeffrey Lurie in his presser talked to us about his exact words where I want an explosive offense, right? I don't really care about my defense. He said that, not me. It's his words. So my concern is you're looking for that Sean McVay, and like I feel like you can get bent over trying to do that too. Now it's known that it's worked a little bit with the younger coaches, fresher minds. Now, hopefully he's open and brings in a great staff and things like that. But I just get concerned, you interviewed so many people, which is fine, but like you're looking for that genius. And I just hope you're not looking like you did last time for that genius where you really messed your organization.
Did they get a genius last time though?
No, in Chip, they tried. Okay. Like offensive mind wise, right? They went for a smart play caller, the all different, right? I like that this guy's been around and talks about not being in the West Coast, not necessarily West Coast system, a combination of a bunch of systems. I like that kind of stuff. That excites me because it's different. I know he's hired for Carson Wentz. We can't win unless our quarterback's right. So there wasn't a lot of names out there, to your point, to like what we were talking about, Pete. And I just don't want them to like reach for that genius name. I'm hoping this guy can be here for 10 effing years. That's what I want, guys. And I know we all do. So, that's just my thing back to the offensive name. It scares me. Not real quick. The guy, it just scares me. What he said scares me.
Right. Put up Waleed's. I can't say his last name. I'm not going to butcher. Put up Waleed's comment. Whoever's in the background.
It's me. Come on. Right here. I get no credit here. Whoever's in the background. I'm talking. I'm flicking buttons. Give a guy a little love here.
So he hired a pup is obviously because he was the OC for 1 year. He never called plays. Listen, man.
Well, Doug never called plays supposedly either, Pete. And
Doug Peterson didn't call plays.
Yeah.
Well, how did that work out? You see, you guys had to stop with this call plays and whatnot. If you have an offensive minded coach and you have an OC, they know the situation. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you go with a decent defensive minded coach and you have an OC, yes, but look at Dirk Cotter was that in Atlanta. He moved around, became a Tampa Bay coach. Where is he back at now? He's back in Atlanta. Look at Adam Gase. He moved around. All these play callers, it takes talent. It takes a collaborative effort, but I'm not going to rule a guy out just because of the fact that he didn't call plays because he was underneath offensive-minded head coach. We seen what an offensive-minded head coach when he wants to take the ball too far, right? That's what we had in Doug this year. However the situation created itself, whether he wanted to grow and then grow was taken from him, and that seems most likely, he still had an ego big enough to come in and say, I don't need an OC. I could do this by myself. Now he's jobless. I wouldn't say he's penniless because he's still getting paid, but he's jobless. And now he's come out and he said, I'm gonna sit out for a year. Of course, if I'm getting paid whatever his salary is, I'm pretty sure it's 7 figures. I'm gonna chill at home too in the Pacific Northwest or Louisiana, wherever. I know he's from like the Pacific Northwest, but wherever he's from, he may go down there and try to help Phillip Rivers coach a high school football team at whatever Catholic school that Phillip Rivers is gonna coach in good old Alabama. But you know what I mean? So people just have to stop. And I try not to get too keen to the comments. But it's just,
who's saying that? Who's saying that? Nobody's saying he's terrible. I made it clear when I disagreed to the poll that like nobody knows. Nobody has an idea one way or the other. So it's unfair to be like, this is the greatest hire of all time. Or like what Wilson said, I think is perfect. Like it's a breath of fresh air. It's something different, and he's young. And that stuff entices me personally. And I know you guys got to go up there too. I mean, how you guys doing?
So before you go, real quick, all the people who were saying press Taylor, and how Carson didn't want to see somebody that was his peer because he was younger. What does this hire say about that?
Lies.
I rest my case. Go ahead.
Oh, if you ask Crumb, though, they better defend each other on social media. Better be, hey, Press, I love you. I never hated you.
Nobody said defend each other. But you can do damage control for your own character.
I'm not taking a loss on your show. Nope. You lost last night. That's where we're going to end it.
Oh, God. Okay.
You already took.
You want
to come back after taking that massive L from last night? We want to do this again?
God.
No, Chucks, please go. Harry.
All right.
Before you divas get into another spat, I'll voice my opinion on the hire. The way that the question is worded is, was the hire a bad decision? And if I'm just going to say is it a bad decision, I'm going to, or it said it wasn't a bad decision, I'm going to agree. I don't think it was a bad decision. On a scale of 1 to 10, if 1 is, I'm not an Eagles fan anymore after this, and 10 is I'm on cloud 9, I'm probably like around a 6. You know what I mean? Like I'm like even keel. I'm like halfway in. Like there are some things that excite me. The fact that he's young. I've been doing some research. Going to guys that I trust a lot when it comes to scheme and talking about that. Like me and P, I know me and P listen to Ben Solak a lot. He's a huge nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff, and he broke down like his experience, Sirianni's experience when it comes to scheming and his repertoire and resume in that regard, and it's enticing. And he's a guy that we've seen when it comes to him and Frank Reich. And I know that he didn't call plays, but Frank Reich has said over and over that he loved Sirianni from the beginning, even back in San Diego, because they think alike. They have the same mindset. So Sirianni had a lot of influence in building that playbook and that system in Indianapolis. I know it was Reich's system and he called plays, but it doesn't mean that Sirianni didn't take a lot from that and that Reich didn't take a lot from Sirianni. So
anybody thinks that calling plays fucking matters is clueless, in my opinion.
Yeah, so
means nothing.
Yeah, so if we're going to take what that Indy system does, strictly on just the system and what they're used to, I really like it because you're talking about, again, a lot of emphasis on getting players in mismatches, which is something we haven't been doing. Using 12 personnel to get tight ends in mismatches, using the wide receivers to get them in space close to the line of scrimmage so that the speed guys can get a lot of yak. And then something that I love the fact that they emphasize throwing to the running backs, which is something that not a lot of teams do. Teams need to incorporate the running backs. And I'm not talking about just simple check downs and, just pass it in the flat. That's not being creative with the running back. Like Steve Sarkisian, I saw a few weeks ago, he was giving a presentation, this video in a meeting. I forget it. Like he had this the seminar, and he was saying like the most underutilized position in the league when it comes to the passing game is the running back. There are so many mismatches you can exploit. So the fact that that type of Reich and Sirianni have those philosophies, it's encouraging. You guys talked about how he's young. It's encouraging and it's exciting, and so I like it in that sense. I definitely do agree with you, Tom, that there's still question marks about his resume when it comes to being with winning organizations, and the reports are that he's a very likable and he's a player's coach kind of guy, but he has more fire and edge to him than Doug ever did. He'll get on their players, under their asses if they're not doing well, and so I like that. Now we have to actually see it.
Doug did more of Doug did more like letting his veterans, because he had a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
Like run the room. Now you're starting over, so you're right. Yep. You need a guy that's going to be like, like whatever the case may be, right?
Exactly. So we have to now. I get it. We have to see how he does leading a whole team. So I get those concerns, and there are always concerns. What I will say this, and there are a lot of people that I've seen like who the heck is this guy? Because he was a no name. Like I think one of you guys have touched on it already. Andy Reid was a nobody when we hired him. Doug P was far down people's list when we hired him. Just because there's a nobody doesn't mean that it's necessarily a bad hire. And with Sirianni, it's just that you have to see, just let it play out. Wait and see what he does. We don't know what his staff is. That's a big question mark. Well, not question mark, but that's a next important step. It's finding whose staff is going to be to support him. Because as we saw in 2017, a great staff around a coach is pivotal. You got to have that. So I agree with the poll in the fact that it wasn't a bad decision. It's more of like a wait and see, but there are things that you can take away from this hire that are very encouraging. And I don't think it's fair to say, to go to one extreme or the other. Just it's okay to be like, all right, let's go. Let's see what this guy can do, and go from there. But I'm on board. I'm happy. I like it. I'm not ecstatic, but I thought we could have done worse. And here's the thing. I know people wanted like big names, right when the head coaching search started, the top of my list was Lincoln Riley, Brian Dable. It became Joe Brady. Like those were like home run guys at the top of my list. None of them were going to come. No, they're not available. So after those guys, we were left with, at least to me, we were left with a bunch of guys that were just like, okay, and then some other guys that were like, oh hell no. We didn't want Kafka. We didn't want like Dennis Allen. Those guys. They were hell no. But like Sirianni, McDaniels, there were guys that were just like, okay. So there was, if you were expecting a home run type of name, the chances were always going to be slim. It wasn't a great chance of us getting those. So every name that you were going to bring up over when it came to all the leftover candidates, they were all going to have question marks. All of them were going to have serious questions and concerns about that hiring. It's just a matter of, okay, which guy do you feel invested in where you can say, okay, even though he doesn't check all the boxes right now, he still has the potential to check all the boxes down the road going forward. So let's hope Sirianni is the guy. Chrome, go ahead. I've said my piece.
I'm interested right
now.
I'm interested right now in what Chrome's going to say, because like I went disagree, and I thought more people were going to follow me on that. Even though I do have a lot of positives, like Chuck's just alluded to, he alluded to like pretty much all the same positives that I have. I have a few different ones as well, which makes that list a lot longer, which is a good thing. But it's funny. I thought you guys were all coming on the side of this not trusting the front office.
That's a given with me.
I'm surprised. Good for you guys.
That's that English rule where it says the eye is understood, bro. Listen, this is my relationship with the Eagles. As long as Howie is here, you have to hope and pray to God that this dude is this good and wins the Super Bowl. He gets enough clout to get Howie up out of there and get power again. You know what I mean? Or, like I said, people really have to look into this. Like, this was a Dorsey dude. This has John Dorsey's hands all over it. So Howie may be losing that power.
Does it?
You know what I mean? And I would think so. And then you look at the comment right here. Howie wanted McDaniels. Lord, and that came out from several different sources. A la they can't give up the source.
This is all Jeff.
So, right. This is all Jeff.
This isn't Howie or John Dorsey.
Exactly.
To me, this is all Jeff.
I don't think Howie has anything to do with this, which is a very, 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 very good.
From that sense, I can agree. Let's hope at least. Let's hope.
Yes. All right, Chromie.
All right. I mean, I agree to the poll question, guys. I do. I think we understand. It depends on where you see where the organization is at, right? So I look at the organization. What did I ask for? I wanted a new voice in the room. I didn't want a retread. I didn't want the Nick Foles version of coaching in this city, which is Deuce Staley. Completely overvalued, and talking about retreading back and forth in the organization. And I called Deuce, and we'll talk about it. But to me, Deuce Staley is, if for all you Friends fans out there in the 90s, he's the Chandler Bing. He has a job here. He never gets the main promotion. And half the time, you don't even know what his job is. He's just there. What do you do, Chandler? Nobody has an answer. That seems to be like, the answer is, well, he leads the guys. Okay, well, that's great. But you have to do more to be a head coach. But, I look at this situation, just from the basic floor up, right? I had to build it from the bottom up. They didn't hire anybody they didn't hire my top guys, but they didn't hire anybody I said, oh, I definitely don't want this guy. So that's like, okay, that's one step in the right direction for me. I agree, and I echo your sentiments of, I like the fact that it's a young coach. And you're right, Tom. there has been a lot of success. Flyers are up 1-0, by the way. There has been a lot of success with some of these younger guys. He's not a guy who hasn't been around. He's been around since 2013 in some capacity, and he's paid his dues. He's gone through wide receiver coach, quality control, up to the coordinator position. That to me is also encouraging, right? People want Deuce to just jump into a head coaching role. I don't think that you could do that. I think Sean McDermott had to go elsewhere and learn how to go through the different steps and different parts of the organization coaching wise to get to where he is. And then I look at it as one of the things we wanted, and again, this is speculation, but I don't see how you could see it any differently. This to me is, we want to know, is Carson Wentz going to be the guy going into next year or not? Without a shadow of a doubt, in my mind, there's no question Carson Wentz is your quarterback. That the priority was to make sure that they are confident that somebody's coming in that's going to fix Carson Wentz. Not necessarily Josh McDaniels, who was my first choice, kind of after Lincoln Riley came off the board and it didn't look like we were going to get Joe Brady. Josh McDaniels is my guy. I'm kind of, some days I'm in on Eric Bieniemy and some days I'm out. So I'm okay with that. The fact that he's not the guy that's coming in. I worry about the retread thing, because how many times are we going to go to the Andy trade? I've seen people comment, how are we, we always have to go after these guys that are our organizational guys. Well, this isn't an organizational guy, and this isn't. Yeah, Frank was here, but there's no coaching tree from Frank at this point. He's a guy who learned from the guy who your star quarterback.
Well, there is
high pay. Right, you're right.
Little branch, first branch.
You're right. There it is. It had to start somewhere. Tom. It had to. But then I look at first of all, whether he's been a quality control coach or he's been the offensive coordinator. He's been a part of 5 playoff games, which to me, for a 39-year-old coach with nothing but the ability to grow, that's a positive. That's a real positive. He's learned from some really good guys who are well respected in this league in every organization that he's been in. Then I look at what he did in Indy. Okay, well, in his time as an offensive coordinator in Indy, they played in 3 playoff games. They had a playoff win. And I kind of give almost a pass on, 2019 was the year where they didn't do so well, right? They were ranked 25th overall in offense. But that's the year that Andrew Luck failed on them right before the season started.
It was Jacoby Brissett.
It was a mess. It was a mess. But guess what? They went from 25th and back. First of all, they were 7th the year before. They won a playoff game that year in 2017. Or 2018, excuse me, his first year as a coordinator. You go into 2019, that's a lot of adversity when your young quarterback retires right before the preseason, basically. Or was it the preseason or the draft? Either way, it was, they left them between a rock and a hard place. They kind of had to piece it together. I thought that they, for that year too, if my memory serves me correctly, even though they ranked 25th, I thought, considering the circumstances, they stood on their own 2 feet that year. And what happens? They come back last year and they bounce back, and they make the playoffs this year. They're 10th overall in the regular season in offensive. And I think that's, again, a testament to, we talk about, can guys be resilient? Not just players on the field, but coaching staffs. And you came in with an aging quarterback in Phillip Rivers. And honestly, if Phillip doesn't get off to the terrible start that he did the first 4 games or so, that offense might be even higher ranked. It took them a while to get their feet on them. So I look at that. And again, that's another thing. Let's look at what Indianapolis looked like this year. Brutal start. And like Chuck said, maybe this guy isn't calling the plays, but he has a voice in the room. He had a voice in the room, and that was something we always talked about, right? Why can't Doug call the plays, but we have an offensive coordinator? That was my issue last year. Okay, you don't have to be the guy who's making the play calls. That's fine. Andy made the play calls with Doug in Kansas City. But I never understood why you couldn't have the voice. Frank trusted this guy enough. They bounced back after a tough year prior. And this is where I don't even know what – we're getting all kinds of backgrounds here.
These guys put backgrounds in here, and it's switching off. I'm the sponsors. Sorry.
That's
Sorry.
okay. No, but
Guys working down here. You take your time.
but I mean, I look at it, and there's a track record here with this guy. He's a guy that maybe flew under the radar, and again, Frank's a young coach, or as far as a head coach, who I think at this point the focus is on Frank. So maybe he's a guy that may have flown under the radar, and you hear more and more about how respected Sirianni is, and that's encouraging.
That is encouraging, but that's for every goddamn coach that's hired as a head coach in the league. Everybody's going to tell you how respected they are, and rightfully so. Okay, because you're not going to be a candidate if you're not respected. So I'm never going to say guys who get hired aren't respected, because they always are by enough to be able to get that job. They have enough on their resume and enough recommendations that's why they're even in the conversation for the job. But that doesn't.
Right.
That doesn't guarantee a success. Like, success comes with building a roster. Success comes with building a culture. So they're the things that we're just not going to know. Like, we can go over offensive ranks and till we're blue in the face. We can say how he's helped quarterbacks. We can say how he's helped wide receivers. We can say all that stuff, which is all factual information, right? It's not lies. That's the factual stuff. But again, the sad thing about it is, and it's the spot we're in, we're not going to know until we see stuff. Now, I believe if you want to talk about something, Chrome, real quick, Carson Wentz had his hands all over this goddamn hire.
Stamped all over it.
No, that's a concern of mine. Not that it won't help him.
Right.
I'm flipping a switch on you right now, Cromer. It's a concern of mine in two ways. One, I like that you're allowing your quarterback to have a say in it because we see what's happening in Houston. But on the other hand, I don't like if he has a say in it too. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I want your opinion on it, but you're not going to be the end all be all to my decision. And I wonder how much, and I'm asking you guys, like, I wonder how much of an influence.
So what would you rather have?
I don't know.
Would you rather have a quarterback, and so for instance, would you rather have what Deshaun has, where they don't ask him nothing, and have him want to get out of there?
No.
Or would you rather have Carson, who play like absolute basura trash in Spanish, you know what I mean? Bilingual over here. But really, and have him to say, okay, maybe I'll take this guy. It's funny how we all looked at this, right? After the season 4 weeks ago, week 17, Sunday night game, trust the process, tank gate, whatever you want to call it, Peterson's final farewell, hashtag. It's funny how we thought all roads, the irony of all roads for Carson led to Indy, right? That's what we were trying to figure out. How can we get to Indy? Boom, Tuesday, or was it yesterday? Rivers retires, right? Still, all roads for Carson led to Indy, but that bitch brought Indy to here. You see what I'm saying? Like, the two organizations were already linked.
No, it's crazy to save him, to save his franchise guy that he paid $128 million to, and I have no problem with that. No problem. That's what I'm saying.
Anybody who's out there saying to themselves, well, Lurie chose Wentz over Peterson. Listen, Peterson's contract couldn't even reach what Carson's already been paid. What do you think an owner is supposed to do? He's going to support where his money is at. Am I right or am I wrong?
I think Doug Peterson wanted out. If you want my opinion, I think he was out.
Yeah.
Tired.
Hands down.
So I think it was like, we're going to fire you. We're going to fire you. We're going to move on. No biggie. That's why they had the second meeting. Fine. I'll stand by this. I do not believe, and I know this, and I'm not just throwing it out there, right, that there's not a beef between them two. There just wasn't. Right. There was an issue when he got put down, of course, because there's egos involved here. But it wasn't a hatred. There's no hatred. Was there some issues at the very end? Yes, but not to the point where they couldn't fix it. So all the reports saying he was unfixable are freaking lies, and it's over-exaggerating what really was going on inside that building day in, day out. That's facts, okay? That's from Brandon Graham's goddamn mouth. So that's facts. So
let's
we can take it for what it is. But what I will say is, guess what? You guys are all gonna touch. Like, he went out and got a guy to fix his quarterback. And at the end of the day, if anybody sits in this chat or anybody sits anywhere and doesn't understand that, even though I disagreed to the poll because I don't trust these idiots until they bring me back in, which will probably happen in 2 months, if not sooner. Or
right after the draft.
Is hired, I'll be right back, and my pom-poms will be back out. But, like, you know what I'm saying? So they did it, and they did it to repeat. Crumb Chucks, they did it for a guy that we all believed in. And we didn't want to give up on him yet. We were mad at him this year. We're still mad at some things, but like we weren't ready to give up on him. So if a new face and we talk about cleansing and how important cleansing is, if cleansing can help him, I am all freaking for whatever is going to help 11, because the only way we're going to be successful is if we figure him out, and then we got to go from there.
I mean, at the core of it, and I talked about. Go ahead, Pete. Sorry, finish.
No, go ahead. Because this is my rant. I'm about to go there real quick.
Good evening, Steve. Chicago. What up, Chicago rep?
What up, Steve? What's going on, brother?
Chi-town.
Little Chi-town love. I love Chi-town.
Deep dish overrated. I don't say that.
I'm not a deep dish fan.
Whoa!
I have to agree. Right.
Agree. You got no room to talk, okay, about pizza. All right, first off, let the Italians and the Sicilians sit around talking.
Get the hell out of here.
All right, we'll talk some pie and we'll let you know. Pete, you're off base.
Compared to New York pizza, I'll take a New York pizza all day.
I'll tell you what the best thing in Chi-town is.
Totally redeemed yourself.
Best thing in Chi-town is Gibson's Steakhouse, baby. Best steak you'll ever have. There or go to actual Omaha for an Omaha steak. Two best spots to get a Midwest, baby.
I want to put an obvious Jeff up right now. Go to Omaha for a steak. Like, you know what I mean? It's perfect time for the Captain Obvious Jeff.
Listen, they have Omaha steaks, but you go to some of them steakhouses in Omaha. I'm talking they really do that shit. I'm not being cliche. I'm saying go to them ones in the cornfields and have them cook you up a steak. That's the real shit.
You gotta get
that steak 2 hours old, man. 2 hours old. This steak was walking 2 hours ago.
John says deep dishes, lasagna, thin crust.
You gotta go get your own steak. They make you hot for your own steak.
Can you imagine? Go to Omaha. It's like Texas Roadhouse, and you actually picking out a cow, but.
Oh my God! Family.
That was just good. I want that one.
Hey kids, we're going to get a steak.
All right, but listen. I mean, in terms of what you're saying, I said it last night, Tom, and I stick to it. I'll go back to where I felt from the start of this, where I felt like, I always felt like when it came down to it, Carson would be the guy to stay, and I'm on record saying it. When the jerseys went on sale at 50% off, I told everybody, go get your jersey now because it'll be $100 in 2 months. I knew that it was the time to do it. And guess what? I hope that you guys did, because now they're going to be jacking them prices right back up. I hope you got your bobbleheads, all your Carson Wentz stuff.
No, Pete,
that's right.
Pete, real quick, we got breaking news on A2D Radio, guys, just coming in. If anybody wants to know who's got the biggest ego in the room, he's right above me. I just want to confirm with the people.
I'm just saying.
He just went on a bookstore. He just did a bookstore. I told you so. He did a bookstore.
Hey, that tour ain't over yet, baby. We ain't done yet. We're just getting
Hollywood
rolling,
Hill Chrome. Hollywood Hill Chrome.
I love it.
And listen, I said to you guys, I said to you, Tom, last night, and I'm happy that it came to fruition that, to me, if they have a vision, whether it was today or 2 weeks from now, if they can get their guy for what their vision is, I will be happy with it. I will trust that they had an idea. And to me, the vision was Carson Wentz needs to be fixed. And to add on to my last point that I wanted to make about the head coach, when I talked to him in the very beginning about where it depends on where you see the organization. I'm not saying this year's a throwaway, because I still think they could salvage this year and do something. However, if it is a bit of a down year this year with a young coach, if you can successfully at least bring your quarterback back to what he is, then that's a success for next year to build on to where you really can start building this organization up in 2022. And I believe that there is a high, I can't say 100% obviously, but the more I think about it, I feel like this may have been the right move for what I think this organization needs to accomplish in 2021. They don't need to make the playoffs in 2021. They need to get Carson Wentz, two things. They need to get Carson Wentz back on track, and they need to have a successful draft. So the draft is
one leg down. One leg down.
I mean, outside of this, The one thing I was wrong on, Tom, I don't think they're taking a quarterback at 6 now.
You might not be wrong, babe. Don't shoot yourself yet.
That's true.
We might all get bent over again here. We can take it for a ride. Don't assume. But no, a lot of factual statements. You were on record. I mean, there's a few of us, obviously, that didn't.
You were with me with the Carson thing too. I don't think either of us felt like he was going to go.
No,
that's why I laughed when everything went 50% off. All Carson Wentz is 50% off. Okay, go get it. You're going to wear it next year. I guarantee it.
Yeah, Jamie, listen, I think, and I want your guys' opinion too. Like people are asking about Hurts and et cetera, right? Like, I think this is like, I disagree to the poll. It doesn't mean I don't have a part of my brain that isn't like think that this guy can have a bright future as a coach, right? Like, I need an innovative, right? I need somebody innovative. I've been saying this is why I wanted Lincoln Riley. I want somebody who can think outside the box. I want somebody that can use people to their skill sets constantly.
Yes.
So Jalen Hurts has a role on this roster, not as a starting quarterback, okay? Taysom Hill, that offense wasn't the same. One, because Brees stinks now, and he's all famer, but he stinks now. Okay, too many.
2 years too late. Can't help that one. I was there 2 years ago.
Preaching it.
You can throw 5 yards.
Man, there's a lot of Tom. I'm not the only one patting myself on. There's a lot of back.
Oh,
I love it.
I got a lot,
That's why
I got a lot of back to pat, bitch.
Listen,
I got a lot of
people
back to pat.
stupid.
Me and Pete, man.
This is why we do this shit. We do this shit so we can say, "Yo, I told you all.
Told you.
I told you." But
God damn it, I wanted Miami to win a playoff game so bad.
now I forget what I was saying. God damn it.
You were talking about an innovator.
Innovative.
Yeah.
I got you, Dad.
We're back. Thanks, babe. Love you. So, like, I think that he can use him to 10 plays, 12 plays, use him in spots, right? Maybe not give him drives and series because that's maybe a little too much, right, guys? But at least be able to give him and use him like we talked about using Reagor to his strengths, using other guys to their strength. Like, I think he will use him to his strength, and there will be a role here. I don't think that they're trying to trade Jalen Hurts. So I think both are here. I think both are capable of handling this together. They've both been through this at different points in their career. I think a cleanse as a new voice and a guy who's innovative enough to say, how can I get my talent in positions to be successful, right? We know the money situations are red zones, right? So how can I design plays for Hurts in the red zone, right? Because all we got to care about as an organization
is how we score.
Is touchdowns. And if we're scoring 6 and we're getting 6 every time, every goddamn person that goes to that sideline is happy no matter how they scored. You win 10, 12 games, your whole team's happy. That's all that matters.
So what I would say in terms of Jalen Hurts, I like Jalen a lot. I agree with you. There is definitely a role that he could play in this offense. I don't think that they are, nor should they actively pursue trading him. But I think that they should be open to it. If a team will offer you, if a team is desperate for a young quarterback,
you can get a 2-back for him or a 3.
Yeah, I mean, and that's exactly where I was going. If I can get a 2 or a 3, I'm in. You're not going to get a 1.
Yeah.
I don't think I would trade him for a 4, to be honest. I think he has shown his value was a little bit higher than the original late 3, early 4 grade from last year. I think that there's something there. But if I can get a 2 or 3 for him, you're goddamn right I'm moving him. I don't think that's even a hesitation. We're not playing the sit on the Nick Foles shit again, where we could have had, what was it, a late first, or early second?
No, you could have had Nick Chubb. You could have had Nick Chubb.
Could have had Nick Chubb on this team. Which hey, we all like Miles. Miles is all right. If I got Nick Chubb on this team, bro, you can't walk within 3 feet of me because I'll have the biggest sports erection that you'll ever see in your life.
Yeah. A real powerful runner. Because now I hope that he comes in and realizes, hey, I got an electric guy in Miles, but now I got to go get a power guy. I'm not talking about a guy who runs a 4.8. I'm talking about just a guy who's really good in between the tackles.
Look at what they did in Indy with their running back. I know Mac was out, which sucks, but man, not only did Taylor finished the year he was tearing it up, but the way they use Hines might be the best third down / cat back in the league right now, and they use him so well. But they use them to complement each other so freaking well. I hope he brings that. When he brings that to Philly, I'm on board. Like, I don't know if I would, because we need so many different needs. I don't think I would pick a running back on day 2. But man, you go day 3, you better I would be all for picking one 4th round, 5th round, or you bringing a veteran Mike Davis. Mike Davis, Carolina, is going to be a pending free agent. You got what's the guy from Green Bay, the one that's playing
Jamal Williams.
Jamal Williams.
Love Jamal Williams.
No nonsense guy. So you bring in a veteran like that, you to pair with Miles, and then you have a good tandem with them two, and then you sprinkle in a little bit of Scott, and you forget Clement ever existed, and you're back on track. You're back on track. So that's what I'm hoping for. I would love that. One thing I wanted to touch on, I know we said it this was a while back ago, but I think Pete, you touched on Dorsey and everything. He has this hands on this hire. Something that my friend Joe pointed out, who's a Browns fan. He said that Dorsey actually interviewed Sirianni 2 years ago before Kitchens was hired. So that could just be a little bit more evidence to maybe Dorsey had influence on this hire, or at least had input. And the fact that I think I know Tom, you rebutted that a little bit, but it's not so much that I trust. It's not so much that I trust Dorsey's choice in head coach. I just hope it's a sign that Dorsey starts to have a little bit of say, because maybe that's a sign that Dorsey will now have a lot of input on the draft. That's the key. It's not that what's his coaching who does he want as coaches? What does he want to do here? No, it's he has a say, so maybe he can not overrule, but now he'll have a bigger impact than we hoped on the draft, because
I want them all. To your point, Chucks, I like them all to be involved. I want a collaborative effort. To win, I need collaboration. To win, we talk about HUD all the time. An Arsenal guys can win. One guy doing it themselves is always harder, right? Yeah. So if we have a team, we collaborate and we talk and we communicate, we're gonna keep striving. And the same thing goes for professional sports at that in the upper echelons, the upper management, right? I need these guys collaborative. I need Howie and John to maybe not see eye to eye on everything, but be able to work together, right? And that's all that matters. So I don't want one guy with I need, obviously there's your guy with final say. Obviously that's every organization, but it doesn't need, I don't want dictatorships. Okay. Yeah. That's the last thing I want. All right. I feel bad enough. I feel like I'm running into one right now in our country. I don't need one in sports. Okay. I need the ability to the guys to be able to talk to each other and not the biggest ego in the room. And you can have an ego and believe in yourself and believe in yourself on draft day. But if you don't trust in the people around you, you're always going to fail. And that's, to your point, I agree with. I hope that he's involved in it. I hope Howie's involved in it, because I don't want the guy who's shopping for the groceries not involved in anything, as much as I hate Howie right now. But in reality, Howie has shown us that he can revamp a roster quickly. He's shown us that. That's proof there. We won a Super Bowl. Not crowning the guy, but I give him a lot of grief, and rightfully so. Okay? But he has shown us one thing. He can flip a roster quick.
He was hot in 2017. So real quick, and I'll segue to my point. So what you just talked about is two guys, and this is the beauty of the situation. Howie's to a point now where I think he's recognized his flaws. Dorsey's to a point where we can see he drafts well. He's a good talent evaluator. He doesn't want anything to do with the other shit. So that's where they can work together. But I only see one person in the chat tonight that brought up this dude's name. And it's called whatever it is, I'm awake and something.
Yeah, I'll find him.
So listen, the reason why it's so good to put Deuce on a fucking pedestal is because Deuce the fucking talk. You don't know what Deuce is thinking. You tell me one good thing that Deuce does outside of Elite Ever Men. You guys put him on his pedestal. He got passed.
Nobody knows.
He's been here since 2011. It came out today in a Paul Domowitch story that he was offered the OC job. He turned it down, supposedly because he didn't call plays. We just hired a head coach that didn't call plays. Deuce doesn't want us to get his name out there. I'm starting to feel like Deuce is entitled. And more importantly, I said that earlier. All these people who feel for him, listen, he could take his ass somewhere else and coach. When I said it in the chat, I said another word, but I ain't going to do that on YouTube. I'm not that guy. I'm not that guy. If it means that much to him, and you feel that bad for him, start a petition or a GoFundMe to get his ass another job outside of the Philadelphia Eagles organization. Please, because y'all literally, you want to talk about crowning people? People ready to crown Deuce the next head coach. I'm like, what does he do? What does he do?
He was
Because
just
you know
the
what?
coach. He was just the assistant head coach.
Part of 411.
Yeah. How does that guy get? Hold on. So you tell me Mike Rowe can't come back when Doug wants him back, right? So you can't promote guys within Doug, but the organization can, though, right? So like you're not allowed to, but we're gonna go hire Deuce Staley. Like I love Deuce, so I don't take anything away from it. Maybe he can be a great head coach. Not here, not right now. It's like Philadelphia Flyers shit. Okay, we don't want that.
Yeah,
you need a new voice in here. And the reports that came out about him not liking Carson today, that was going to be my video. All right, but then the news broke about our new head coach, so that was more important. But it's funny how that's fucking leaked. But this is why I hate the media. That's literally leaked.
Yeah.
Leaked. And they go make the other hire. You know why that's leaked? And you know who that's leaked from? I'm here to help everybody. I'm just here to help you. That is leaked from up top in this organization on purpose that make the reason why they didn't hire Deuce. You guys, I mean, this is so easy.
Yeah.
Just they're like, all right, done. Figure it out.
And he's still here. You don't see Deuce saying, you know what? I'm out. I put my 2 weeks in. He could resign. He could move on. He's still staying right here.
We got Tommy the Body Ventura down here and all of his conspiracy theories, for Christ's sake. Listen.
That's common sense.
Pete, I'm with you, by the way. 2 and 2, man. Pete, I was with you. I said it earlier. We were going right in the chat. To me, the more I look at it, and whether this is disregarding whether or not he likes Carson, we don't know.
We got ABC News on up there, Crum. You got ABC News up on there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Call me conspiracy theorist. That's such a shot. Like that's not a conspiracy.
Put up the last comment, Tom. Put up the last comment. I'm going to address this real quick.
But listen.
I'm at you now.
His lost already. Players will not respect the new. Oh, stop it! You don't know that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
that's
ridiculous. Jalen Reagor on your.
Listen, and here's the thing.
You got somebody with a Jalen Reagor thumbnail as a picture?
Listen. Here's the thing, right? The whole
I know my
players
city.
respect him. Listen, players in every organization respect tons of coaches. That's nothing new. That's number one. And if anything, I think you're going to hear more guys speak up because it doesn't matter how much of a coach he is. He's always one of the boys because he was in the trenches and he played in the league for a long time. And guys have always looked at him like that. That's why you have Brian Westbrook speaking out. Brian Westbrook don't know shit. Brian Westbrook, that's all speculation on it.
Excuse me?
Yeah, that's right. I said it. But to me, the more I agree that with Pete, man, the more you analyze this, there's an entitlement there. How do people continue to ignore the fact that he has had opportunities in the organization and outside of the organization, and it just has not happened to him? I put the analysis in earlier that he's like the comparison. He's like the girl that he's in the friend zone. He's in the friend zone, and he doesn't want to admit it. It's like the guy who continues to hang around because the girl is saying, it's probably not ever going to happen. I'm not saying it's not impossible. And you get the old Jim Carrey from Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance. That's right. Deuce. And I'm not saying Deuce can't be a head coach either. But he needs more experience. Sean McDermott is always the guy I go back to because the coach he is now is not who he was when he was here. It's not who he was right when he left here. He needed to get more seasoned and more experience in other roles in other organizations. Deuce only knows the system that's been in place here. And he's done well for himself as a running back. And honestly, I don't even know how well he's done with the running backs over the last year because I feel like they look like dog shit overall.
No, he's done well with running backs.
He's done talking about last year. Last year. When we're talking about promoting guys, wasn't real happy with what I saw from the running back core overall. Let's be honest.
Right. We'll just agree to disagree.
And the thing is, it's so easy.
He's done really, really, really well with running backs.
Hey, by the way, if you're the leader of men's, hey, keep your number one, your RB1 in check, okay? Keep his mouth shut and make sure he's focused on what he's doing on the field. If you're the leader of men, you should know better. You should be pulling him to the side and saying, dude, stay off the Twitter shit. Keep your head in the game. And don't worry about what happened in week 17. because you could have did a whole lot more going into Week 17 that would have changed the outcome.
No,
This wasn't even a thing.
I don't need somebody everybody wants. Like first off, way too many players are making a case. This ain't hire your best friend shit. You understand this? This isn't hire your best fucking buddy. This is pro sports. I don't care how long he's been here. You all want to make a case for Eric Bieniemy not getting a job? Tell Kansas City to stop winning then. That's that simple, okay? Because teams don't want to wait to hire. That's how it works.
Yeah.
Tell the NFL to fix their damn rules then, okay? Or stop winning. That's why Eric Bieniemy hasn't gotten a job. So all the hoopla and uproar about Eric Bieniemy, people need to take a step back and check yourself. Stop winning then. Because all this, everybody's hired somebody already. And guess who they hired them from? Teams that are eliminated. Like, wake up, people. It's not that Eric Bieniemy isn't deserving of a job, but all the ESPN reports that they put out are a joke at this point. Like, it's not that people are saying he's not deserving. Like, are people okay? Like,
he's unavailable, man.
Because nobody wants to wait. So how about the NFL, instead of putting a Rooney rule in, that's a crock of shit and a slap in the face anyway, okay? The African-American men, it should be. I would feel a certain way about it. How about this? How about you let them hire a guy whenever they want to?
Yep.
You don't have to wait to the end of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Have enough feel that a guy's going to want to win where he's at and finish the job and not leave because he got hired somewhere else. What's 2-3 weeks going to matter? It's a joke, dude. That's why Eric Bieniemy hasn't been hired. The people need to wake up. They're in the freaking Super Bowl last year. So everybody hired everybody before that. So again, like, teams rush to hire guys, right? The Jets rush, you know what I mean? The Jets, the Jags, they're quick to hire guys. It's not that they don't want Eric Bieniemy, but how can they hire him? They're not allowed to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's what nobody understands.
And let me say this, because I know, we're doing the gauntlet on Deuce, and I feel like I'm the one that's closest to being a Deuce defender. So I will say this on Deuce's behalf. First of all, for the record, Deuce wasn't high up on my list anyway. So it's not like I'm saying, I want him as head coach. He wasn't high up on my list anyway. David Zaleski, thank you so much. He says, hey, love y'all streams. I got a question though. What's the plan for DC and OC? Because I'm not happy until that happens. We don't know yet, David. We're waiting and seeing. There's some rumors, but I don't know how legit they are, but we will see within the next couple of days. But
I know. I can give you my defensive coordinator who I'd like to see. You guys have heard it.
We know, Rod Mayo. We know.
Yeah, but I'm saying on the air, not to you guys.
Ooh,
I said it to you guys.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks for speaking for me though when I'm speaking to the fan here.
The husband does.
That's the name.
Always speak for the wife generally.
I would like. Yeah. Okay. You better watch your goddamn mouth down there. I'll tell you, for me personally, I think that I really like Gerard Mayo a lot. I think that he is a guy who's on the rise. And on the defensive side of the football, I like the idea of having a young coach. I feel like as a coordinator, I would like to have a more experienced guy. I originally maybe thought Deuce could be a fit. I don't really think that now as the day's going on. I don't know who. I don't really know. Is there a name out there that you guys like for coordinator or defensive? I know we've heard some.
I haven't.
Here we go.
I don't know. Not for this stuff. Yeah.
Here we go. I'm yelling. I'm yelling Harrison because I'm excited. I'm not yelling. Okay.
Anyway,
lock in.
Anyway, yeah. Anyways, so when it comes to Deuce, I want to make it clear. He was not high up on my wish list. He wasn't my top choice or close to it when it came to this coaching job. I'm on record as saying that when it comes to the Eagles hire, we needed an outside voice. We needed a fresh mind. Like what you guys said, Deuce would have been just a retread, like more of the same old. And I didn't want that. I wanted some outside external voices to come in and give a fresh take on everything. And Deuce has just been here way too long, and we don't know what influence he's had from outside because he's been with this organization for so long. And the only other organization he has ties to is Pittsburgh for a couple of years when he was a player. And that's it. So, I wanted an outside mind to refresh everything. So it's not like Deuce was high up on my list. What I will say, though, in sort of defense of Deuce, I know that he has to get experience. And I've said, the trend that this league is going toward, teams want that smart, intelligent offensive mind. They want the next Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay, that
Right.
genius, offensive genius. If Deuce doesn't have any experience calling plays or designing an offense, he's going to be behind the 8 ball, because we just don't know. He hasn't been an offensive coordinator. He's just been a running backs coach and assistant coach. So that he's already behind the 8 ball. What I will say is that there have been hires, for guys that are just as unqualified as Deuce. The Lions just hired Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell was a tight ends coach. So what makes him more qualified than Deuce? We talked about Joe Judge last year with the Giants. He was a wide receivers coach and special teams coordinator. I mean, I guess that's a little bit more qualified than Deuce. So, and those are just the top 2 that come off, top of my head. But there have been questionable hires. So it's more of like, and Pete, I don't know if you listened to the episode, but Mosher and Kaplan said this, and they went on a big rant in their show the other day. But they were saying, like, it doesn't make sense that a lot of people see the job that Deuce has done with running backs and with his organization and how highly he's spoken of. People speak of him, but he doesn't even get an interview. It's not that he deserves a job. It's more of like, why isn't he at least getting an interview? And that's where I will stick up with Deuce, saying like, hey, I may not have wanted him here, but I still believe that he can be a good head coach somewhere. And the fact that he doesn't, and he's not the only one. Other guys, they don't get an opportunity, even in an interview. And I think that is an issue overall in a macro sense, not a micro sense, macro sense.
But
So
keep this in mind, though. Keep this in mind. Like, get an interview for what? You were just part of an organization that won 4 games. Like, everything in context. Like, if they won 11 games, he should be getting interviews. He's the assistant head coach.
Right.
Getting interviews. Everything in context. They won 4 effing games. It's a train wreck. It's the whole coaching staff. It was, everybody saw it. So I understand him not getting interviews outside of Philly right now. He's got to either go somewhere else. At some point, he'll start getting interviews for a head coaching job once, he's on a successcial team and he has that kind of prominent.
He has to show that he's more well-rounded than just a running back.
Exactly. Yeah. He has to start to show that he has some kind of pedigree with an offensive scheme. He has to show that. If he doesn't show that, it's going to be difficult for him, and it's got to be outside the organization. Jeremiah Butler, thank you again for 499. He said we had no reason to hire without interviewing Bieniemy. Draft ain't until April. Training camp is in the fall. Disagree with that. Disagree because when you don't hire quickly, you lose out on assistants. You have to hire so you get.
Yeah, it's not just the head coach; it's the surrounding coaching staff. You're right.
I disagree with that. I totally disagree with that.
So let's just. I want to go back.
Before I get to this, Donovan, don't know.
Thank you, Donovan. Donovan says, "Why hasn't other teams looked at Deuce? Because he hasn't done nothing else but the running back coach. He has gotten looks before. He just hasn't gotten jobs.
He's waiting for Tomlin to retire.
Well, how many games? Where was Dan Campbell at? I'm drawing a blank. Miami.
Dan Campbell was in Miami first,
and then New Orleans.
He was the assistant head coach and tight ends coach with the New Orleans Saints under Sean Payton.
There you go. They were winning. That's the reason. Yep, they were winning.
And that's fair.
I want to real quick go back because we talked, Tom. Something you talked about a lot, right? Is the history of this fan base falling in love with people and needing to constantly have them around the organization even after their playing days. And the track record of failure in this city with all 4 of the major teams shows. Let's go back. Look at the Flyers. People wanted Rick Tocchet as a head coach for years and years. And guess what? Go look at his head coaching numbers. Never finished higher than 4th in the division. They're never very good. He's just not a good head coach. He's a guy who people thought, he's been an assistant. He seems like a really smart guy, and we love him. He was such a great player. Let's go to the 76ers. Maurice Cheeks, Hall of Fame player. People loved him. Not a great head coach. Yep. Let's be real. He was an assistant coach for a while.
Better assistant coach than head coach.
Exactly. You have to bring him in. He had a first couple good years with Portland while that team was still built from before he was there. And then as soon as those guys started to trail off and get old, that team dipped real quick and got real bad. He was terrible in Philadelphia. He was mediocre, maybe at best in Philadelphia in his best year. And he was awful in Detroit and didn't even get through half. I think he got through half a season in Detroit.
Didn't he coach OKC for a little bit?
I don't believe so, but I could be wrong on that. If he did, it wasn't for very long. And then the main one that I look at, Larry freaking Boa. Larry Boa with the Phillies. People repeatedly, year in and year out. He to me deuces the Larry Boa.
No. You don't have a right.
No, I'm gonna shut your mouth. I'm gonna shut your
That
mouth.
is
Don't
true.
cut me
That
off.
is you have to draw the line somewhere.
Hashtag not your team.
He's not a manager in this
Because-
league. He never was. He's
that's
a good
not
coach. He's a guy that riles people up in the clubhouse. But when it came to being a manager on the field, Larry Boa couldn't carry the jock of 25 of the managers in the league when he was in the league.
Bro, who was on the roster when he coached here? Are you okay? Stick to the
Doesn't
Cardinals.
matter.
Stick to the Cardinals. Okay, Larry did a very good job, and Larry was a great motivator and a great baseball mind.
Stop it.
And it's
That's because
disrespectful.
you love him. You're
What's Ozzie Smith doing right now? Doing backflips? Cute. Don't talk about my shortstop.
So, Chrome, you as a Cardinals
by the way,
fan
he's a
should
spring
know.
training instructor, but he also knows where his role is, and it isn't on the field. Larry Boa couldn't carry Ozzie Smith's jockstrap, and Ozzie Smith knew where his role was. Larry Boa does.
Because the guy wants to stay around baseball. He doesn't know his role. Grow up.
Nothing wrong with staying around baseball.
Grow up, Peter Pan.
Some
It's
people
his
aren't
fault he got a head
managers.
coaching
Some
job.
people aren't managers. Some people aren't managers. I could have the same argument with my team with Jose Oquendo, who everybody said, why isn't he getting a manager job? I said,
All about being in the right situation. Wake up.
Stop it.
It's all about the right situation.
Stop it. Stop. Nobody else ever felt like Larry Boa was going to be right for their situation. Only in this city. Because the fans needed to have Larry Boa, and the organization wanted to throw him a bone. But nobody else would give him a shot because he stinks. He was never a coach. And guess what? It's a track record in this city.
Erroneous.
It's not
Anyways,
all
it's a
camp.
1,000% fact.
Erroneous.
Are you guys done with your spat now?
I'm not doing nothing. Don't blame me. Don't blame me. It's
I know,
erroneous.
but you
Listen,
can't fall into his trap.
His undies got bunched up between the cheeks there when he heard that his dear old Larry Boa was getting smeared for good reason.
It wasn't for good reason.
Yes,
Talk
it
about
is.
the Flyers that
Yes,
you
it
were
is.
talking about.
Tell me how many other opportunities did he have as a manager? Tell me.
Bro. What are we talking about, Larry Bowa?
Hey, because I'm making the point that in this city, everybody falls in love with former players and thinks they're going to be these great managers.
That's
real
true.
quick,
But you're attacking.
And guys who filled good coaching roles and other like assistant coaches, right. Dugout coaches and whatnot, third base coaches, whatever else, infield coaches, what the fuck else? I don't know, whatever. They're good in that role. As soon as they get to be the lead dog, expose themselves. Complete and utter exposure. See right through them.
So, to speak about Chrome's point about falling in love.
Anyways,
I want to speak about the opposite. I've never seen the fan base of any of the four major teams.
Just saying to Jim, I'm not a Phillies fan. I got no fan card to turn in, buddy.
No, he's a 3 for 4. He's a 75%er. He'll be 75% in everything he does in life. Just we'll just keep it at that.
He's about
75%. Yo, Broski, 75% is a Hall of Famer, and the other 25% that's not there has 11 World Series championships,
but you've been juicing.
including two,
Asterisks.
including when we knocked you out in 2011. Let's not start that conversation.
One of these guys.
Oh my gosh.
I know fans like that want to throw in what their previous success in your face. Cowboys, Yankees, just to name a few. So stay hot up there.
We've talked about it. I got 11. When's the last time you were in a World Series?
We're doing this.
Didn't Mike Matheny win a World Series as a manager?
No, he didn't. He lost in 13.
I am so out of my element right now.
They lost in 6 games to Boston in 2013.
Chrome has spun his web of weave. He's weaved his web into this
You're gonna
Cardinals
start.
St. Louis.
We're gonna start downing me for being a Cardinals fan, a lifelong Cardinals fan. I got a lot of web to weave. A lot more than you guys do. My web is gonna be a hell of a lot bigger than yours.
That's true. But you threw the first punch when you mentioned Larry Bowa. You know that's
Larry Bowa was a bum as a manager. He's a great coach. He was a great guy who people respect. He's a bum manager. But people love him. Thought he should be the manager
Okay,
forever.
even if that's the case, you can't say it. That's what Tao's point is.
Yes, I can. I can. Because I'm an on-air sports personality. I can say whatever I want.
Oh, okay. Listen.
Not if it's false.
It's not false. It's true.
You have no insight on that. It was a bad team. What are you talking about?
1,000% insight on that. 1,000% insight.
It was a bad team. Stop it. It was a bad team.
I say it again. How many other opportunities did he get as a manager before and after that? I rest my. And how many years was he a coach in the game? I rest my case. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim. I appreciate that, Jim.
He wasn't the bench coach all over.
I don't know where St. Louis is. St. Louis is in the Midwest.
He's calling
San
you
Louis.
Louis. You know what I mean? So I mean,
I'm not doing.
Anyway, Pete, what were you saying?
Listen, man. Like, I've never seen as much venom, and I want to hashtag these people. This certain segment, if you believe in this, is this turncoat. Like with Carson, I get it, but like this is on some old Manziel type, maybe even worse than Johnny Manziel, because we attacking everything. This story's coming out attacking everything, trying to rip him apart from not even from on the field. On the field, he was horrible. Now it's getting off the field as well. And people who say Jalen Hurts versus Carson Wentz, I will tell you straight up, point blank, period. Jalen Hurts' character, the man, you're probably going to fall more in love with and line with, especially in this city. Like I'm saying, you're going to fall in love with Jalen Hurts than any time more than Carson Wentz. That's why they want. But that can't be your quarterback, and kind of echoes to the same point that Chrome just made. Just because you love a guy the way he plays in his work, the talent, you can't, like, we can't do it. I'm so like I have never seen the venom after 12 games of bad football to where we're so quick to turn our fucking page on the fucking quarterback when you need him to be right to win, because Jalen Hurts is not going to be that. You have no other option. I don't get it. This is honestly, is this worse than Donovan got attacked and scrutinized?
Yes.
That's my point.
Yes.
I don't understand it. And it's in such a smaller sample size. Like, fans act like fucking QBs and franchises growing fucking trees out here. They don't. And you don't have one number, whatever number Jalen Hurts is number 2. He ain't at all. So be careful what you wish for. And you obviously see the owner, Jeffrey Lurie, says, listen, I need to fix this dude first because we've seen him do it. But Jeff McClain and all the others with these stories, man, okay. I'm pretty sure Jeff McClain's been a dick at some whatever bumblefuck agency that he worked with when he wrote for 6 months before he got to the spot he got to. Everybody's going to have that, but there ain't no stories about the shit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't understand it. It's such a bad sentiment for Carson and an environment, because now when this dude come back, unless they have, you think it's bad now with this hire, with the hire of Sirianni to say, hey, this is a Carson Wentz move. How much more in the public eye do the Eagles have? Get ready for the Carson Jerk Fest. Y'all ain't gonna like that, because they're gonna have to do everything possible to put their effort and their promise behind Wentz 100% going into the next season, because they know game one, if he comes out and he's struggling with a new coach and a new offensive system, guess what's going to happen? You think it's bad now, and that little line of support, wait, they have to come out now and support him 150%. So you're going to be all up in your face now. You definitely ain't going to like it at all. I've never seen a downfall, not talent-wise too, on the field, but just it was so easy to get people who were on the fence about Wentz or pro Wentz to get him to turn and not just say, okay, maybe he had a bad year, but to get him out of town. Like, when did we start giving a shit about what a player was being paid? That ain't our money, right? When did that start becoming a thing about your talent? Because if we did that shit, I'll tell you the one player in Philly who really is getting over fucking paid, and I wouldn't have said this before the season started, I say Tobias is earning his money more than Simmons. Would you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So where's the hate at for him like that? No, it's always the wait and let's see. The wait and let's see. Simmons, we've been waiting to see him for Simmons for the last 3 years. Carson gave us 12 fucking games of bad football. People going to say he regressed the year before, whatever. But 12 games of football does not warrant me to kick you the fuck out of town. You get paid all this money, and you are better than your successor that's already on the team, or you may have to go out and use more capital to get somebody to replace you. That's my thing. I don't get it. I've never seen terms. This is on some bitch. The British is coming Paul Revere type shit, like a headhunt. Like it's almost starting to feel like a witch hunt, man. Like I'm waiting for what's next. I'm waiting for the next story now, because it seems like every week there's something else that's saying this dude is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? As a teammate, honestly. You know
Alan, what's up, brother? Sorry, What
up, Alan? No, it's good, man. But I don't get it, bro. I don't understand it. I've never seen anything like it. And there's been some bad players in this town. Bad. But I've never seen a turn like this. Never seen a turn like this.
Shout out to my dude down there in Orlando. I can't wait to come back.
Oh man, I miss it.
Not soon enough.
Oh, I miss it. Lucky.
Tentatively April.
Lucky.
Or maybe March. I'm getting my vaccine soon. So
you guys want to answer Jeremiah's?
Chase Smith or Surtain, and I'm happy. One of those three. I will do both.
All three agree.
All three of them. I don't care.
And they should be there. One of at least one or two of them should be there. So
I'm more Chase over Smith. Smith size.
I want
man.
Chase as well.
Smith size, bro. I just never.
Flyers are tied. Sorry.
Never seen somebody that small be that effective for a long time in the league. And he's different than Deshaun. He's not just a one-trick pony. That's because he's going to go across the middle. He don't have the speed just to be a burner. He needs that footwork to go inside and out across the lane. So you seen Devin White in the divisional round Sunday. He was a maniac for Tampa Bay. Can you imagine him taking it from Devin White and lasting?
Yeah, I hear you. I think with Smith, and don't get me wrong, I want Chase over Smith, but I think it's one of those points where like Smith is just too good of a football player where it's just like, you know, yeah, you take the concern with his weight, but he's a football player. Like it's one of those where like athletic testing might be one thing, measurables might be another, but when a guy knows how to play football, he knows how to play football.
Listen.
And so, you know, so that's why I would still be perfectly fine with Smith. I want Chase over him if I were to, you know, gun to my head, but I am like, in no way would I complain whatsoever if Smith was the guy or if Surtain was the guy. They're all, to me, those are the three picks that you have to, one of those three have to be at 6.
I think Devontae Smith is the best route runner in this draft. I don't think it's even close.
It's not close. Not close. Yeah.
He can play outside. We need route runners. Chase is explosive as shit. I don't take anything away from him. He's second in this wide receiver class to me, just because. Listen, you get punished a little bit for not playing a full year. I mean, I watched the guy win the Heisman. So how can I say that you're better than him?
A wide receiver win the Heisman.
Yeah. So it's like, you know, he jumped you. He just jumped you because he's played. Like, he just showed us how good he is. So he jumped you. Now, I got no problem with Chase. It's like Chuck says, he has no problem with Smith. Like, I'll still be happy and excited. But I think the main guy I really want was Smith for a while. And then I started studying Surtain a little bit, and I like him too a lot. So I'm conflicted with them too on who I'd rather want. But like a gun to my head, I think I would take Smith and call it a day if he's there, and be totally happy that. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. Like I don't know.
I think he's going to Miami. Or he's going to go to.
I think so
or
too.
He's going to. Or Cincinnati. Sue's going since he's going to Cincinnati.
Very possible, yeah.
What do you think about this, Chucks, real quick? And we're not going to drive deep the draft. What do you think about? We had a comment that Farley's better than Surtain. You talk about a player who took off a year. Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech didn't play at all.
I think with now I've only watched like 2 games of Farley just to dab myself into his game. So in no way is my eval complete, and I could change my mind. But based on what I've seen, Farley they're different types of corners. So it depends on the D coordinator we're getting and the scheme we're employing. So, you know, or deploying. I'm sorry. If you're talking about someone who wants to play more, better at zone, better off coverage, more of a twitch guy, more of a man coverage kind of guy, then you're going Surtain all the way. but I think that if you're looking for a big, lengthy, physical type of corner who's going to play a press bail or press man type of scheme, a la like Richard Sherman, I think that Farley's a guy. Farley.
I think you got him switched because Surtain's a man cover guy all day. I mean,
he's very handsy, but his hips are stiff. That's the only thing.
Well, listen, but he's the bigger, more physical guy, though.
Surtain is the physical guy. Because isn't Farley bigger than him?
I don't think so. Because I think he's really big.
He may be taller, but I don't think he's as thick as Surtain.
Yeah, it's weird. You're not wrong about it. I think they're both.
I'm probably saying corrected then. Yeah, I'm probably saying corrected because like I said, I haven't even done any deep dive into it. So.
Samuel Jr. at all, Chucks? Have you even took a peek?
I haven't. I've only watched some
of
Farley because those were the two that were mentioned toward the top of the draft. So I'm like, let me just peek into them. So I haven't even done. I'm still finishing up running back stuff. I always do running back first.
One at a time.
That's first, and then everything else after that. So
one at a time. I wasn't trying to come in and correct you. I just know that for a fact. 13. I don't think they can play
so. I'm glad you did because, like I said, I haven't even finished anything on it, so I don't know. I really don't know. But I think my point is that I think Surtain and what I've read also Surtain and Farley, they're two different type of corners where it depends on your scheme. It really just depends on your scheme. So depending on what we utilize, that'll determine which one will be a better fit. And that's a thing that I've kind of learned and adjusted. Before we move on from draft talk, I know that Chrome is like bleeding from the ears about draft talk.
I don't mind. No, I'm in.
Soon here.
What I've learned from last year to this year, and 3-2 Fly Guys, is that when I do like these grades on prospects, and I hope everyone has kind of like that this kind of mindset too. When you're talking about grades on prospects, especially when it comes to defense, you can't ranking them is tough because what one prospect means to one team might mean something else to another team. Because of scheme and coaching and what their philosophy is. So just because, for example, I may have, let's see, Caleb Farley as just hypothetically, say might have him as my third ranked corner for a team that utilizes a scheme that he's a better fit for. It makes sense for them to have him as their CB1. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so, even if I translate it to running back, if I have, say, it's pertaining to last year, I had Clyde Edwards-Helaire as RB1, right? But if for a team like the Titans or the Cowboys, it wouldn't make sense for them to have CEH as RB1. They employ more of a gap run scheme, and they more of power running that CEH wouldn't really fit. So their guy is more so a Jonathan Taylor that they would have been looking at. So I've kind of switched that, and I've changed a lot of how I do evals this year, and I'm gonna that'll come up in a month or two when I start putting out more content. So be on the lookout for that. But I've learned a lot in terms of changing the ways I do my evals. So it's more accurate it's more reliant on projection and not a ranking, because we fall so easily in love with a ranking. Like, oh, this guy is wide receiver 1, and then he has him as wide receiver 5. It doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't matter. You can interchange them depending on the team and the scheme. So that's what I've shifted, and I want to make sure I implore more of that kind of stuff when you talk about grading a prospect and what teams look for. So that's really important when you talk about prospects and their fit with the team that you're talking about. And I got that inspiration from one, the Scouting Academy, and two, from Greg Cosell. Greg Cosell, NFL Films. He's like my idol when it comes to evaluations. He always talks about that. He doesn't do rankings when it comes to the drafts. He does evaluations and he lets projections speak for themselves. And that's the approach I'm kind of taking for this year, is look at the projection, not the ranking.
Yeah. So real quick, Sheldon K, and I know we're going to jump into it. I'm not even sure where we're going. Newsflash, I didn't look at the criteria today because it changed because we had a breaking news Eagles hire.
Yeah.
But no, real quick, and this is even for Tom. Go back and look when Bama played LSU last year. I think people are so remiss about Jamar Chase because he hasn't played My man went for 9, 140, and 2 touchdowns against Bama last year, and some of those plays were on certain. The pro days this year are going to be so important because we have guys like Parsons, like Farley, who tore his ACL, like Chase, who haven't played and sat out. Then you don't know what you're going to get because they had no tape whatsoever. But when we're talking about cornerbacks, if you want, you kind of got your Tane, he's your man press. You got Farley's more your off coverage can make up with his speed. And I would say out of South Carolina, J.C. Horn may be somewhere in between, and then you got Asante Samuel Jr. But for this area, because he does his play, he don't talk a lot. If you want somebody that's going to play with their heart on their sleeve as a DB, then for Philadelphia Eagles fans, you want J.C. Horn. Dude talks hella shit. Jalen Mills that can actually play DB.
I've heard really good stuff about J.C. Horn, so I'm really itching to finish my running back evals so I can move on to J.C. Horn and some other names. But yeah, you talk about J.C. Horn, I've heard really good things about him. I've heard that he's not going to be taken before Surtain or Farley, but he could end up being better than them a few years away from now. That's
he's late at the first. We have to set up some Zoom sessions and watch some tape and do some eval. We have to do that off camera. All right, Chrome. I'm sorry, Mr. St. Louis or St. Louise.
No, you're good. You're good. No, you're good. Listen, I know
you're a draft guy, so
I know where my bread and butter is at, and I defer to the experts here. I'm more than happy to do that. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm really excited for the draft at this point. That's what we have to look forward to. That and who our next coaching staff, what that's going to look like. So
there's rumors DC may be Jonathan Gannon and D coach.
Jonathan Gannon.
Yes, he's interviewing with Brandon Staley tomorrow for the DC job in San Diego, Los Angeles, I should say, with the Chargers. But this is the caveat why this job may be more enticing for him, because why would you want to go be a DC under a DC head coach when you can come be a DC with an offensive minded head coach? That's
and
your baby.
Charge. Yeah,
you have complete autonomy running that side of the ball. So
we got Jerome King Jr. He says, I have a question. We hired this coach based off he is here to help Carson. What if Carson wants to leave possibly? What do you guys think?
Where he can, you know why he's not going to Indy? And I just found this out today. Mike Grove's in Indy. He's not going there. Why would he want to go there? He got him fired from Carson has no home. Unless they work some magical trade with San Fran, Houston, or something, or the Jets, he's not going nowhere. He knows, he should know that. And the organization, to in Chrome's point, they've proven that they want him to be the quarterback. So if they would have chose to keep Doug and this happened, you have a point. Now the organization has clearly shown their allegiance is to Carson. If he wants to trade now and it's not in the best interest of the Philadelphia Eagles as an organization, then he does come off as a complete North Dakota hunting redhead ginger. You know, redhead is temperamental anyway. I mean, that's just what they are. It's innate. You know what I mean?
We ain't all soft as baby shit like Carson's been. I can tell you that.
He threw a touchdown with a torn ACL, MCL.
Okay, and he's cried about it ever since. Cried about everything.
Here we go. Heel Chrome in full effect.
He's big. I mean, I'm calling a spade a spade. The guy's been a crybaby, guys.
When?
There's no temper tantrums last year.
When?
I can't believe you're going to bench me because I've been probably one of the worst quarterbacks that we've seen in 20 years in this city.
When's that happen? When's he done that? When did the temper tantrum happen? Did I miss it?
Maybe.
No,
it doesn't matter. I mean,
you constantly want to do this to the guy. You're part of the problem.
It's So it doesn't matter. I'm not going to go down this road with you
You
again.
started the road.
Oh, you started the road.
You started
Who started the road now? Is this what we're going to do?
Yep. You started laying the concrete.
Yeah, okay. Well, somebody had to dig the ground up first, Tom. Somebody had to create the dirt pad for the concrete to lay on. That's you.
Oh, I'm
How
not.
you gonna turn on one of your own, man?
I just took it and started smoothing it out.
I'm not the one reporting.
And I took that ride down that road when I blew
Chrome is
past
the
you
source.
in that argument.
Chrome is McLean's source.
Yeah, I mean, everything that gets reported about him, you're Mr. Well, if there's smoke, there's definitely fire, guy. Like that's not always the case. Like every Sunday they smear his.
It is here.
Every Sunday, Chris Mortensen.
It is here.
Adam Schefter smeared his name.
Is here.
Apologize. Just connect the dots.
Right here.
Connect the dots.
Absolutely right here.
Every Sunday they're searching for a story. So let's
smear
guy's character.
That's connected.
Smear a character.
Come on, Tom the Body Ventura. We got it already. It's all a big whatever. I got you.
No, it's okay because in 2021, we're allowed to smear characters without actual facts behind it. We're allowed to. For everybody in this country, you can just smear characters. This has nothing to do with politics. This has everything to do with, I don't like your opinion.
Who says it's smeared?
I can smear your character. That's
who says it's smeared.
It's been absolutely smeared. You just smeared it. You said temper tantrum.
Who says?
That's a smear. That's a goddamn smear.
Who says that it's smear? Who says it's not fact?
I'm not saying because I don't know, but you sure as hell are making it out.
Who says it is?
It's funny that they seem to go out of their way to bring his name up.
See, I do this because it's easy to trigger him because he made the absolute opposite point when he tried to say that I said stuff was fact last night. When I said my intuition is that where there's smoke, there's fire. And I said, not that 100% of it's correct. I said, even if 50% of it is correct, then there's a problem between the coach and the player. And he made it sound like I said, it's all fact. And it became a big thing. That's where it came. So now I'm just going to go with it. I'm going to roll with it. I'm going to stand on that hill.
But
it happened. I believe
Don, how about Dan Campbell? What's up, Don? One of our regulars here. But don't you think it's funny that they seem to go out of their way every week to have a story? Like I feel like sometimes Carson is the only quarterback in the league that has some questionable shit at all.
Well, hold on. When Aaron Rodgers was losing a little bit in Green Bay, they smeared his character. So I can continue this game. When you lose, your character gets smeared because these beat writers are bored nerds. I'm going to say it again because I don't pull punches. I don't care if you want to come on here and give me freaking access to shit. I'm sick of it. You can't just go out and smear characters and just name sources. You better, if you want to print factual stuff like that and talk about people's characters, I want your sources then. It's simple as that. Now, opinion pieces, source all day because it's an opinion piece. These guys make it out like it's factual, concrete evidence. That's not fair. Okay? The journalism in 2021 and 2020 is shit anymore. It's not the same as it was. And that's the sad part because these guys want clicks. They beg for clicks. You guys see me in the content group. I don't want speculation posts. It's not fair to anybody. That's not how journalism's done. You can think whatever you want about me, that I'm a fucking loose cannon, etc. Fine. Because I have fun with this shit. But the one thing I don't condone is smearing characters without truth for any player. That's just factual. I take it with Kyrie too, because he's a lunatic. He's just all over the place. But I try not to smear him too much because I don't really know. I don't know what's true. I know the guy just donated and bought George Floyd's family a house. So I look at the class he thinks he does. So I don't want to smear characters, right?
Two-gun Tommy.
I don't want to smear characters too much. Now, I do crumb in the days all the time. And people, now, Chucks, I went from a pom-pom guy on Instagram to everybody telling me, Tom, you're too negative. Yeah. We won 4 games.
Mr. Negative?
We won 4 games.
What's negative about 4 games?
I can't have it both ways anymore. Like, if I'm excited and glad.
Talk about these, Tommy? Talk about this?
And listen, I used to love Jeff McClain.
Don't make me start busting him out.
Okay? I used to love Jeff McClain. I used to love a lot of these beat reporters. And I grew up with these guys, man. So it hurts me when I watch them do what they did to Donovan, like Pete said, times 20 because of the access now to just screw names. Now, let me know the sources when you're not even in a locker room this year. Okay? You're not even allowed in the locker room. So tell me all your sources, babe. Some offensive linemen.
How you get sources from a Zoom call?
What offensive lineman? The 10th guy in? I want to know who said it then. So you can't just name position groups and then not tell us names. That's where I draw the line. You're telling me an offensive lineman said it. Adam Schefter had to retract a tweet and apologize for it because he didn't know how deep it was. Because these guys on Sunday morning, because listen, what's Sunday morning football? It's quick, right?
Quick, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So these guys look for stories. And if these beat reporters want to get their name out there on ESPN, think about it, guys. Oh, I want my tweet shown on ESPN, so I'll leak the story to these guys with maybe sources, maybe not, because if I say source, I can say whatever I want then. The joke.
Yeah. And not be attached to it.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Opinion pieces. Chuck writes a ton of articles. Opinion pieces, source all day. But you can't say factual things about a guy's character and about what kind of teammate he is. We rip Sandy DiGillo, whatever the stupid freaking guy's name is, 3 years ago. So now it's okay, Chrome? Now it's okay when we crushed that guy 3 years ago? What, because people just keep recycling the same damn stories?
It's so easy to kick a horse when it's down, man.
Yeah.
Like that's not.
And one thing I did point out, because I my one article that came out, was it Tuesday, was a reaction piece to McLean's article on Wentz, and I broke down certain parts. And overall, if I'm talking about overall, I think the big problem that I had with McLean's article was that, like, he's quoting guys, for one, that are anonymous, don't want to attach their name to it, and that's cowardly. But two, you're talking about a locker room of 53 guys. Right, 53 guys is 3-3.
Mm-hmm.
Goddamn. 53 guys, and you're gonna spot out a few guys and use that as source and make it off as, oh, this is because one guy said it. That means the whole team has the same sentiment. Like, we all know in the room of a locker room of 53 guys, not everyone's gonna get along. Not everyone's gonna agree. But just because one offensive lineman or one wide receiver said this doesn't mean that the rest of the guys or the rest of the locker room, the majority of the locker room, feels the same way as that guy. So you have a lot of selective sourcing, anonymous sourcing from players and from guys where they're spinning it like, okay, this is how the whole team feels, when that obviously isn't what might be the case at all. And that's what one of my biggest problems was. And talk about in the one piece, they were like, oh, there was an example in the quarterback meeting room. They were looking at tape, and Press Taylor was like, why didn't you throw it to the one wide receiver? And then Wentz deflected and was like, oh, well, he over-exaggerated the pass rush, or blah, blah, blah. Well, did McLean bother citing what play it was? So how do we know for sure that the play in question was one where it wasn't Wentz's fault? Or maybe it was. And I said that in my article. I'm like, maybe it was Wentz's fault. Maybe he was deflecting. Maybe he was shrugging it off in practice. But we don't know for sure because we don't know the exact play they're talking about. We're not in the meeting room and looking at what they're looking at. So they're spinning it in a way where it's like you can spin it to make it look like it's true. But if you go deeper and think about it, it's like that's a very one-sided take, and it's not a fair take when it comes to painting Carson Wentz.
Exactly. Very well said. Very well said. It's so easy. I mean, hell, listen. I'm not right or left. I'm team purple. I've been saying this is the other thing. I watched this inauguration yesterday. I've been saying I've been team purple since July. Now these fuckers want to hashtag shit. I need some royalties. I should have patented that shit back in the summertime at the height of the pandemic. But for 4 years, we watched certain media outlets have such easy content for 4 years because they didn't agree with the person that was in the head of office of this country. So it shows you how easy it is to keep regurgitating the same material. And if you don't look between the lines, and I'm not disagreeing with Chrome where there's smoke, there may be fire, but at the same time, we need to hear. You're never going to hear the positive side of it. You'll hear it in BG's comment. You'll hear it in Fletcher's comment. You'll hear it in Kelsey's comment. The ones who actually have the voice of the locker room. But it's almost like when you have a product that works, you're not going to fucking take the time out to be positive. Let that some bitch don't work, though. You're going to be quick on Amazon, 1-star and the shit out that motherfucker. For real.
How many times, I don't want to get into that, but real quick question for you. How many times have you heard insurrection over the last week.
Right.
Just that word, right? So regurgitated word, which is fine. Like I'm just making a point to your point, like a regurgitated word used over and over and over again to make something that's bad, but into something more. Like that's just what they're doing now. They're using the regurgitated bad teammate. Regurgitated doesn't take coaching well. Regurgitated over again. And the fact of the matter is, for what reasons? We always talk about it. If a guy doesn't get a quote from somebody or a guy doesn't feel like a guy likes them, they can write whatever they want about a guy. And that's what's unfair. Right. And that's what's unfair about journalism, not only in the whole world today, not only for politics on both sides. I don't give a shit what side you are because I'm a middle guy. Don't care. But regardless, like you see it. And what we're running into, and the problem we're running into with sports too, is why agree, disagree. You know, you look back on what agree, disagree stands for, and you look at it now, you know, it makes even more sense because, and honestly, if somebody doesn't agree with your opinion today, they want you muted, man. They don't want to hear you. If that's sports or life, they don't want to hear you. So agree to disagree means, listen, we can argue, yell, scream. Dude, that you guys are my family, right? The guy up there that I'm yelling and screaming with tonight, that's family to me. That's a brother to me, right? And we're doing it for fun, and we understand, like, dude, we can have different opinions. It's fine. It's what makes it fun. It's what makes it interesting and different. Like, and we love each other. That's where did that go? Like our younger youth is like, oh, I don't agree with you. I'm blocking you, right? That's what it's become in sports. Like we talk about with Reger, Chucks, we talk about with other guys. Like, oh, I don't like what you said about me. I'm blocking you. Wait. So you mute anything you don't agree with? That's not what this country is built upon in life, in sports. Period. It's built on everybody's opinion is welcome, even if I disagree with you wholeheartedly, right? And still respect you as a man, woman, etc. Okay, that's what's unfair, and it turned into sports too. And that's where I'm drawing the line because you ain't coming into sports and doing it. So these players need thicker skin, okay? Then or just don't create a social media account. Yeah. So you gotta decide how you want to go about it. But writers have become the biggest creeps there are. When you don't need access to anything in 2020, in 2021, you can get access right on Twitter. You can get access right in a player's DMs. So these guys who we grew up listening to every word they've said are now 100 times worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
4-3.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, 4-3 in Boston. I mean, yeah, go ahead.
Early season, man. At least we got the MVP in the city. I'll tell you that shit.
JoJo
is listen, man. He's a fucking
monster
right now.
Oh, I disagree with this completely, Victor. He should have did his last presser. He owes it to people. I don't care.
Yes.
Like I don't care about the pressers during the year. His final presser,
He should have spoken.
Yep, I don't care what you say. You're a $128 million franchise quarterback. You have to do that, dude. Your team won 4 games. You were atrocious. You have to come out and speak to the media. As much as you hate them, you owe it to us, not them. Not them. To us as fans.
Yeah, that wasn't his finest moment.
Who is a media person, right, guys? Like who enjoys the media? Like who enjoys answering questions that you're like, is this guy asking me this again? Like you're asking me.
Everybody should take the Voracek approach. Take the Voracek approach. You know what I mean?
That's what I said.
That's it.
We're gonna get credentials soon. And when we get in there, we're not going to be in there to try to expose players. We're in there to try to get real answers that people want to know, that are meaningful, not agenda driven. That's the part. It's agenda driven. Like, oh, I'm gonna get this quote from Doug. He's saying the same thing all the time.
Yeah.
What special quote you gonna get from him? How many times you gonna beat it in his head about Jalen or Carson before he gets tired of talking to you and gets snippy? It's just the way it is. We hated Andy, right, guys? We didn't hate Andy, but we hated the pressers because they mean nothing. They mean nothing.
He gave you the same shit. Yeah. He wasn't getting nothing.
Time's yours.
Yo, a lot of us like politicians, right? That's what they do.
Now,
they're built to lie.
Because the time is his right now. The sack on that dude, boy.
Who, Andy? What did Mike Tomlin not do, guys? The week before. I mean, Mike Tomlin is actually great. The Steelers have all the momentum in that football game shifted to them, and you got a 4th and 1, and a guy I love as head coach shriveled up.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Wait, what?
We just scored. Van Reem's
I'm a little delayed. I'm a little behind you, I guess.
Rangy, second time
Yeah, I
around.
am too.
Let's go. Let's go.
But Crumb, I love
Why,
you.
why doesn't Nick
You're
bring
not
his,
fully
bring in his own coach?
wrong per se. Like nobody knows.
No,
Like,
listen.
know what
Truth
I mean?
be told, right?
knows.
Truth be told, the real conversation, the real argument we had was last night, because that was the point I made. I'm prodding at you a little more tonight to get you worked up, so I'm taking a few extra liberties. So if anybody wants to know where my real stance is, it was last night, and that is the fact that and we've talked about opinion pieces. I didn't say anything was fact. My opinion was, I believe that there's an element of fact, and I said if half of it was true, then there was definitively a problem.
Yeah.
I say, I tell on After Dark, we have Eeyore on there as a co-host and Tori. So I take shots at Carson just because we know that's going to get her worked up. So
What did you call her?
Who is it? You?
I call her Eeyore on there all the time because it's always, why even bother? Thanks for noticing me. About everything that has to do with Carson Wentz. You would have thought that he was taken out. You'd have thought he was taken. I call her that on the air all the time.
How'd that not go?
Anyone who pays attention, and Tom's on a lot of shows with me now, knows where my real stance is. I'm having fun with it tonight. I'm just letting these go because you're making valid points. I don't disagree with you.
No.
I stand by my stance of my personal opinion. Is there's some truth to it. It could be 10% of it that created dissent. I'm not backing off of that.
Yeah, I think that's the point. I think
you're about right.
There can be some truth to it. I think what the media is doing is they're embellishing it.
Oh, I definitely think there's things.
Yeah.
I think the
Justin,
article, especially you put up that article for what, 2 years ago? 100%. I think that's where it became the cool thing to do.
Yeah,
because that's the first time we saw it, and it opened the floodgates.
Yep. Yeah.
Justin, do we think that guys at this level don't have egos and at times
they're type A's, man.
aren't the easiest guys to coach up? I mean, if we really think, and I know you guys don't, if we really think it's all rainbow, these are competitors, man.
Yeah, I know. There are going to be disagreements.
Competitive as shit.
You're trying to tell me Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers haven't had disagreements with their coaches, haven't had times where they're like, no, what the hell are you seeing? This is not on me. Like, I guarantee you they've done it a million times. But when it comes to Wentz, it's a big thing. It's like, oh man, he can't take coaching. It's maybe, and I keep asking this question, maybe he just doesn't take Doug's and Press Taylor's coaching. Maybe that's the real answer. Maybe they're just not good enough coaches where it's like, I'm not going to listen to you because you don't know jack squat about what you're talking about.
What they do to him, Chuck, they told him he wasn't allowed to have a coach in the offseason, right? Like the organization tied his hands on going to get a one-on-one guy. Listen, I'm on Instagram all the time. You know how many basketball players have one-on-one coaches? I see them all. I see their coaches on Instagram. Right, posting videos like these guys have individual coaches. If you start getting into a dictatorship as an organization where you won't let because you pay a guy, you think you own him, that you won't let a guy go get work outside the organization, you're failing the guy. You're failing the guy. Listen, it's not about you don't want too many voices, with the right voice.
Look at what Josh Allen did this offseason, and look what he's doing now. Look what he's doing now because he got help in the offseason outside of the organization. Look, and that's what you get. But I totally agree. I think exactly what it is they're embellishing a lot of stuff.
Is Aaron Rodgers the bad guy who donated $500,000 to the Barstool Fund, and I'm not Mr. Barstool, but what they're doing is phenomenal for people, okay? But is Aaron Rodgers that bad guy? I just want to confirm with people because supposedly he's a terrible person to his family. We don't know what happened with his family. We don't know if he started making money.
Story behind. Yeah, exactly.
Started making money. He started asking for everything or etc. We don't know. We don't know nothing. Maybe he is. I don't know. But at the end of the day, it's not.
If you go back a couple seasons on The Bachelor when his brother Jordan was on there, you learn a little bit about their relationship.
Listen,
it wasn't great.
And it might not be, but listen, not everybody's family's great. Not everybody's the greatest guy in the world.
Not The Bachelor, The Bachelorette. I apologize.
Freaking Tyreek Hill's pushing Greg Lewis around, and they're still winning games. So, I mean, Like to act like I mean, Tyreek Hill's a piece of shit. If you want to be real with it, he's a bad guy. But what do we expect from these guys? There's so many players. Like,
yeah, why hold them to that standard, bro? Like, they don't need to be fucking role models.
Listen, I say it all the time. I ain't bringing you home to meet mommy and daddy. This is baby. This is rough and tough. You're going to be physical. You're going to do stupid shit off the field because you have your muscle memory of 110 miles an hour. I'm not making excuses for it because what these guys do is inexcusable off the field. Inexcusable. Okay? But they expect these guys to be all perfect role models when you're talking about this many people. 53 people on a roster, practice squad guys, do the math.
Exactly. Can I, real quick, too, and I guess it sort of relates, but it's a question you asked way at the beginning of the show, and I never got a chance to answer. And that was, talking about, do you have a problem with Carson having an opinion on the quarterback? Well, guess what? In 2021 in professional sports, or not the quarterback, the head coaching hire, in 2021 professional sports, your star player on your roster a lot of times has a say in the matter. Now, I know you guys brought up Deshaun Watson, who I don't really have a problem with, but I would have more of an issue with somebody complaining about who the general manager is as opposed to who the head coach is. I think that does change it a little bit. But that being said, guys, I expect my quarterback to have something to say. And that, to me, that doesn't make him a prima donna or a diva for having a say in that, for having an opinion and a strong one. Go throughout all of professional sports. Star players have a say in the matter. When they interview head coaches in everything or a manager, it's always about what can you do to make our star players better. It's a lot of them. Most of them are when you come into town for an interview, guess what? The star players are going to be there to greet you, to get a vibe for what it's like. So, yes, you know what? I'm happy that Carson's asked because that to me tells me that they do recognize that he is the star player of this team, and he is. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And a lot of people questioned it last year. They gave us a definitive answer to me this year or this offseason. I mean, we're still – I guess I can't say definitive because we haven't 1,000% had him named as the starter. But all signs point to it. In my heart of hearts of what I believe, they have made me feel 1,000 times more comfortable with my head coach or with my quarterback going into next year.
Yeah.
And that was a big question.
They've shown a willingness to listen. That's the same thing. Like people where there's smear pieces being written about Carson and demanding a trade. But yet for the Deshaun Watson scenario is completely different. I mean, I don't know. I mean, not saying that they are, but it should be fair on both equal playing fields. You feel what I'm saying?
Yep.
I mean, I think we'd have seen one comment it's like, what has Carson done? He can't dictate a trade. You don't fucking have a Super Bowl ring without Carson 2017. That's what he did.
Yep.
Regardless of 12 games.
Careful, babe.
Spot on, Peter.
Careful.
You know what I mean? So it's like you can't say these things and just throw this shit out there to the world and think it's just going to stick when somebody can take a fucking tennis racket or something and slide it right back at you. You know what I mean? You can't do that shit.
People, the stats and numbers and facts only matter to people if it fits their agenda.
So let me ask you guys a quick question. All right, I want to defer from this like agenda stuff.
Do we want to do picks, though? Do we want to do our picks?
Yeah, let me ask one more question in terms of Sirianni. And maybe you guys don't know. I'm not as familiar with him. I'm studying up on him. Mm-hmm. I see that, the name J. Jaw has been brought up in here. I've seen Jalen Rager's picture pop up on here in one of his burner accounts with his little comments. So my question to you guys is, I've heard that this guy is pretty good in terms of his creativity at the wide receiver position. Can any of you guys speak on that and what his philosophy is, how he does work his wide receiving philosophy with his offense?
Would you think that was a good wide receiving core in Indy last year?
Exactly.
Not great.
I'll just say that because they outplayed their talent level, in my opinion.
Yeah, and their rookie contributed. Michael Pittman Jr. contributed. And Chucks could probably go more into his coaching scheme, but I'll tell you this, Chrome. He's been a wide receivers coach more than anything else.
Look at Mike Williams in L.A. Look at Mike Williams in L.A.
Let me two-part. I want Chucks to tell me about him as far as a wide receivers coach, familiarize for me, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers and listeners. And number two is, Does anybody feel like if we're gonna get any? I think we believe that Jalen, there's still a trajectory up. Does anybody feel that if there's anything to get out of J-Jaw, that this guy may have the ability to do that?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. After Chuck's goes, don't forget before we go to our picks, I want to read off some of them positives real quick, and end that on a good note. So just remind me,
Gotcha. So when it comes to, I'll put it this way. I mean, and I'm still studying in detail his background in length. So there's some stuff that I'm not 100% sure of. But what I do know is this, and if him and Reich have same philosophies, same type of schematic, installs with the designs. This is what they do with receivers. Is they remember how with Chip Kelly it was all about stretching you horizontally. Well, that's the concept that Reich and Sirianni take into this offense, but they don't put these receivers in a box and say, oh well, this is we're gonna have this receiver here and they're just gonna run this route only. They really take what the receivers do well, and I know it's cliche, but when I say this, we say it because not every team does it. I'm telling you that. Look at Arizona and that spread offense with what's his name?
Kyler Murray.
Who's the head coach? Kingsbury. They don't motion wide receivers out. They stick them to one spot. DeAndre Hopkins just stays to one side of the field. He runs these routes and whatever. So that's just one example. So when I say this, it's not being cliche. It's the truth. They take those horizontal concepts, stretching you out horizontally, east to west, and that's the West Coast concept that we're talking about. That he's familiar with is that going side to side. But the thing is, they position these wide receivers in different spots on the field to accent their strengths. Michael Pittman was someone I was very high on in the draft. People weren't mentioning him. They were saying, oh, T. Higgins, first round wide receiver. I was saying no, Michael Pittman is going to be better than T. Higgins. I still stick by that if he hadn't gotten hurt. But what we saw with Michael Pittman later in the year when he got healthy was that they were getting him on crossers and they were getting him in space where he can use his size and athleticism not only to box out defenders on the stem of the route, but getting him in space where, hey, big boy, use your long strides and go run. Go, and if you don't believe me, go back and watch his plays in December and in the playoffs. You'll see what I'm talking about. They get him open for yak because they know that he's a big physical wide receiver, but he's not slow. He's just he has a different type of long speed. So he knows how to, based on his resume that I know, they know how to put receivers in a position where they get them into space on crossing routes a lot so that they have a better opportunity for yak, for yards after the catch. So if there's anyone that's going to benefit from this a lot, maybe it's J-Jaw, but Rager is the first one that comes to mind. Maybe you start to see more of Quez Watkins develop because Quez Watkins is fast too. But they're going to start to get these guys on crossers and in open space where they can make use of their athletic ability. What I do question is their use of a vertical passing game. How often he's going to be able to attack vertically with deep shots, with vertical routes, with go routes, post routes, stuff like that. That's something I didn't see a lot of. I don't know if that's because of personnel or because that's just not part of their philosophy that they emphasize. But that is one question that we have to start to see. And is that a good thing or a bad thing? We don't know because we saw from Doug this past season, Doug fell in love with all vertical routes. It was all just go routes, go routes, go routes. Well, now we need – I don't know how that puck did not go in. But now we need to see how they do with a very West Coast type of offense in the sense that they're going to really get these guys on a lot of crossing routes to get advantage of them in space. That's how they use their wide receivers.
The two tight end concepts, that's his passing game, so Ertz may stay.
That convinces me too that there's a good chance, or not convinces me, but it makes me more optimistic, I guess, that Ertz is going to hang around for another year.
Yeah.
LJ Fields says, and thank you for your contribution, or for your tip, LJ. We appreciate you, brother. You can't say Carson is a star player when he never played in the playoffs for a full game or won. He elite, not a star. Well, I mean,
I think we got to. I got
second team all pro, Pro Bowler, had an MVP year until he got knocked out. Carried a team to the playoffs, and pretty much ask anybody around the league, and they'll tell you that Carson Wentz is a star player in the league. So the fact that there's so many teams that would be interested in him still, despite his price tag, despite the year that he came off of around the league, tells you that Carson Wentz is a star player in the league. So maybe some people here don't view him as a star. I mean, there's a lot of people here that didn't view Donovan McNabb as a star because they just didn't like him. But I mean, Carson Wentz is your star player. Oh my God, I can't. You're right, Chucks. I can't believe that puck got.
Yeah, he didn't elevate it enough.
Why don't we get our picks in before we hop off because we got the hockey happy hour coming in.
Tom, your positives.
Oh yeah, let's get the positives in.
Well, play calling input for an offense that scored 28 points a game, so a positive. One of my least favorite wide receiving cores in football. Right, he made them look better. And listen, Phillip Rivers at this point of his career is not the same guy, and has always been a big turnover machine. And he's helped him eliminate his turnovers this past year, at least. So, I mean, a positive thing in terms of Carson Wentz, right? And I think the run game. I mean, the way he utilized Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines there, that's a positive for me. And getting the most out of Miles Sanders and understanding the importance of the run game. And I think he has respect from guys. I don't think that's going to be an issue. We'll find out. And then I think the most important thing you got to look at is, does he have a little bit of that magic? Does he bring a little Frank magic, hopefully? Donovan, guys, not saying I want this, but would you trade for Michael Thomas? I would trade for Michael Thomas any day of the week. I know other people don't feel the same. He's a top 10 receiver. Yep. You catch 100 balls in this league, I'll take it. Yeah, like, I'm not saying he's the best. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying in the position we're in, I don't pass up talent.
Why be the best wide receiver we've had in a long time, that's for sure.
Yeah, why wouldn't we take him?
I'm 100% in on that. Who wants to go through? Guys, you want to give your picks for this week?
Yeah. Who wants to go first?
We want to start with Tampa Bay and Green Bay.
Tampa.
Anybody? Do you want me to? Well, you guys are probably going to do. You're doing a pregame Sunday, right? I was going to say, you want to do the lines too? Say who you think's going to win outright and who you would pick against with the spread. All right. So right now we got Tampa is +3, Green Bay -3. I would take Tampa +3 here.
Yeah, I'll take Tampa +3 and Tampa outright. I think
Tampa wins too.
I think they go
Tampa outright. More complete team.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to be the differing party here. I've had Green Bay in the Super Bowl for months, and I'm sticking with it. I think that that maybe roster-wise from top to bottom, defense and offense, maybe they have the better team, the better roster. But I think that right now, Green Bay has two calling cards right now. They've got LaFleur, who to me is a better coach than Arians right now, and you've got Aaron Rodgers, who's playing as good or better than any quarterback in the league right now. That system, and 3, that running game of Green Bay, I don't even think Tampa Bay can stop them. The running game of Green Bay is Flyers lost in a shootout. What else is new? God damn. All right. But I think Green Bay just is destined for that Super Bowl. I don't know if they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think they'll be in there too. And also, prayers up to Ted Thompson, the former GM of the Green Bay Packers, who passed away. So I mean, I don't want to say this to use him, but I think that does put extra motivation on the team to play for their former GM. So I'm going Green Bay.
All right. So it's what, 3 Tampa Bay and 1 Green Bay?
Yep.
Wow. AFC, we have Kansas City, and we have Buffalo, and the spread for that is I think it's 3 points.
This is easy.
Same thing. I got Buffalo.
2 road.
Without question.
I got the 2 road teams. I got Buffalo as my Super Bowl pick and Super Bowl winner when the season started. I think they're a complete.
Same here. I had Buffalo to win. Yep.
I think they're a complete football team. They can do whatever game you want to play. Kansas City. I mean, you want to go get in a shootout? They can shoot out with you. Mahomes' foot is my biggest concern. That toe. If he can't drive in the throws, that's going to matter, babe. That's going to matter. Josh Allen and that offensive playing at a high level. And whose defense do I trust more? Buffalo. Listen. Kansas City makes big plays on defense. That's sort of their MO defensively. But listen, if you want to run the football and control clock, Cleveland showed you can do it with them. And let's be real, who's got a better offense? Buffalo does. So, I think Buffalo upsets them. I love Andy. I love Mahomes. But listen, for a fan base that hasn't gotten one, they deserve one. Kansas City deserved one last year. It is now Bills Mafia time. And go break as many fucking tables as you want. You guys deserve it. You guys deserve it. It's their time. And what better way than to take out the GOAT in the Super Bowl that's owned your ass for a year?
Right.
At home.
It's so fitting. It's like our curse. Like we went and beat the GOAT. We went and beat the GOAT. Yeah, at home too, Crow. We went and beat the GOAT with a backup quarterback, and we played a 40-burger talk with him. You know what I mean? Like that's how you break curses. Same way with Buffalo. They're going to go beat them too.
Yeah, same thing here. For me, I've had Buffalo since the season started, and I think they're even better than I expected as the season's going on. Josh Allen, special player. Having Stephon Diggs just totally evolved that team this year. And yeah, I agree with you, Tom. They have a defense that can be absolutely lights out. I'm concerned with Kansas City, whether Mahomes is playing or not. Not having a full week of preparation against this team either, I think, is an issue. This is a team you need to be up and be ready for. So, I'm riding it out with Buffalo the whole rest of the way.
Buffalo for me. I got family up there, so I know they're happy. I mean, you see what the defense did to the Ravens last week.
It does hurt me a little bit to see Buffalo, though. But I don't hate them like I did when I was a kid, so it's fine.
Nah, I think Buffalo here, no word on Mahomes. The one thing that may hurt Buffalo is just the lack of the running game. That's it. Is that losing Zach Moss hurt them, and they won't commit to Devin Singletary. But like Brian Dable said, he's like, when you got a quarterback in the zone, I mean, why run the ball? And Allen he's playing like a man possessed right now. So I gotta ride the hot hand. And they're being doubted. I don't know what the weather is at KC, but it's going to be a good one. These are probably the 2 best conference championship matchups I can remember. Probably, I mean, they're better than the year that we won the Super Bowl. But you know what I mean. But this is quarterback matchups and everything. It's just you can't ask for anything more as a football fan.
Chuck, sir, we got less than 2 minutes, so I need you to give me your pick real quick.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I wouldn't be surprised if Buffalo won this, and I would be very happy if they did. I love that Josh Allen has turned his career around and has reached his potential, and it's still on the rise. I love how Buffalo plays. I love seeing that team, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they win. In no way am I saying or guaranteeing a win for the Chiefs, but I'm going to pick them because of the sense that, one, I had picked them months ago. At the same time, I picked Green Bay, but at the same, I can't pick against Mahomes and Andy until they prove me wrong. I can't pick against them, and you talk about what's a better offense. I mean, the Chiefs, man, if they get CEH back, and because they can't, I'm talking about a team that doesn't have talent in running back position, they do miss CEH, and then Tyreek Hill Tyreek Hill is elite. So in itself, so he can. All it takes, is we saw in the Super Bowl, all it takes is one play to turn the tide, and Tyreek Hill is the weapon to do that. So I'm still going to stick with the Chiefs, but it's a coin toss in my opinion.
Okay. Mm-hmm. For sure, it's going to be a great game. I think it's going to be a great weekend of games. But thank you guys for joining us. Fun conversation. Dad, Pete, Chucks, myself, we enjoyed it with each other and with you guys. Thank you for everything you contributed across all of our social media platforms. Make sure you're following, setting your alerts, subscribing, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, wherever you look, all the podcast platforms. Give us a follow, rate us, all that good stuff. Thank you to our sponsors, Dr. Paul Vidal, Specialized Physical Therapy, Burlington, Cherry Hill, Princeton, New Jersey, and find them on the web, specializedphysicaltherapy.com. No appointment necessary, so hit up Doc. And also, again, guys, a lot of us and our families deal with mental health and addiction issues. It's really important to us, and we want to, we care about this organization who cares about you guys. So, we're happy to support the Counseling Center and Sunrise Detox. And please let them know. Give them a call at that phone number, 856-651-8117, for yourself, or if you know someone who needs to speak to somebody. Please share that phone number because we're all here for you guys. And obviously, thank you to our allcampusoc.com. Don't forget, guys, you want to get your gear. You want to get hats and whatnot. John Coyle, awesome dude, runs a great show over there. And A2D is the promo code that's going to get you 15% off. So make sure you guys check them out. And real quick, get your A2D merch, guys. PhillyDrinkers.com. All kinds of cool stuff on their hats, shirts, and everything else. We love Alex and Philly Drinkers for everything they do. You can get specifically to the A2D collection at PhillyDrinkers.com/pages/A2D-radio. Tons of stuff, show shirts, A2D stuff, Philly-inspired stuff. For myself, Chucks, Pete, Big Dad, stay tuned. Hockey Happy Hour coming at you momentarily. They're going to break down the unfortunate Flyers loss in a shootout. But guys, stay safe. Please be careful. Look out for yourselves and look out for each other. We love you and have a great week.